¿Qué pasa, chavales? ¿Cómo están, morrillos? ¿Cómo están, morrillas? Bienvenidas, bienvenidos sean a un nuevo directo de su compa Morro Loco, regresando a YouTube. Así es, morrillo, así es, morrilla. Si tú quieres jugar conmigo, lo único que tienes que hacer es suscribirte, darle like, darle a la campanita y estar en todos mis directos escribiendo la frase correcta, la cual es: quiero jugar compa Morro Loco. Si lo escribes de la manera correcta, vas a jugar conmigo, en este caso una larga hora o hora y media o 2 horas, ya veremos, de Rocket League. Así que ya tú sabes, morrillo, ya tú sabes, morrilla, bienvenido a mi canal. Yo soy tu compa Morro Loco y con tu compa Morro Loco juegas diario. Vamos a aprender el Rocket League, morrillos, vamos. Mientras, vámonos a los saluditos, ojito los saluditos con la peña que anda bien locochona, a ver qué andan haciendo. Oh my god, con esta música que sube, que se baja, que se sube, que se baja, oh my god. Ojito con los saluditos, ojito que Nezuko, hola, soy el Night Polar, ojo con el Polar, ayer fue mi cumpleaños, ¿qué andas haciendo, Polar? Bienvenido al directo. El Rey Tilín, bienvenido, estamos lo mismo, XD. Yeah, vamos quitando la música, porque ya está ahí la música de fondo del Rocket League. Y sigamos con los saluditos al Nezuko, al Rey Tilín, al fan del Chims. Dice: ¿qué onda, morro? ¿Cómo andas? Dejé mi like. Chicos, no se les olvide dejar su pedazo de like. El Pedro dice: quiero jugar compa Morroloco. ¿En serio, Pedro? ¿Quieres jugar Rocket League? Vale, te invito ahorita. ¿Cómo de que no? Hola, dice Dixon. Morro, saludos. ¿Qué andas haciendo, Dixon? El Víctor dice: hola, morro, espera. Ah, vale, pensaba que habías cambiado la canción. No. Ahí andamos, nada más que se bajó poquito. El fan de Chim dice: saluditos, Dixon, tenía mucho tiempo que no estaba por acá. ¿Qué andas haciendo, Dixon? Sí. Ahí se te recuerda, morrillo, se te recuerda. Chicos, ¿quién va a querer jugar? ¿Quién va a querer jugar y ponerse hacker? ¿Quién va a querer jugar y ponerse hacker? No se les olvide dejar su pedazo de like. Su pedazo de like. Y también por ahí compártanlo en sus redes sociales para que me apoyen a que la gente me conozca. ¿Vale? Vale. Perfectísimo. El Víctor dice: podrías hacer directo en Twitch también. Para que pueda ver el directo mientras juego. Y él dice: fan del Chims, yo no voy a jugar, morro. Vale, no pasa nada. Vamos a ver acá quién me está invitando. El Dixon dice: tenía mucho tiempo sin estar, ya lo leí, como 5 meses. Jajaja, ese Dixon. Pedazo de carcajada que se aventó. Chicos, ¿qué han haciendo y qué han hecho? ¿Qué me cuentan? Ya se dieron cuenta que los directos en YouTube ya no son entre semana. Ahora son nada más los fines de semana. En YouTube solamente va a ser sábados y domingos. Y entre semana va a ser va a ser por Twitch, ¿vale? Dice el Víctor, después haces directos en Twitch. Los directos en Twitch son solamente de lunes a viernes. Y sábados y domingos va a ser puro YouTube. Puro YouTube. Para apoyar, ojito, el rayo serrano. El verdadero rayo serrano. No, este no es el rayo serrano. Ese no es el rayo serrano. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Dice el fan de Chim, yo aquí con frío en México, por fin llegó el frío. ¿Ah, sí? Yo en la parte de México en la que vivo todavía no ha llegado el frío. Pasó un frente frío hace unas semanas, pero todavía no ha llegado el frío. Dice el Pedro, ¿qué pasó en el directo de ayer, morro? ¿Cómo que qué pasó? A ver, platícame. ¿De qué tú estás hablando? ¿De qué tú estás hablando, mi pana? Lo pincho. ¿De qué tú estás hablando? Platícame, Pedro. ¿De qué hablas? ¿Cómo que qué pasó con el directo de ayer? Dice el Racho McQueen. ¿Qué pasa, Racho McQueen? ¿Cómo estás? Dice, hola, ¿puedo unirme? Claro que sí. ¿Cómo te encuentro acá, Rayo McQueen? Fan de Chim dice de que tú estás hablando, panita. ¿De qué tú estás hablando? El Víctor dice, ¿dejaste YouTube? La aplicación que te hizo crecer, la que nos recomendó tus directos. ¿Y la vas a dejar? ¿Y por qué dices que la estoy dejando? Si te estoy diciendo que voy a hacer directos los fines de semana por YouTube. ¿De qué tú estás hablando también? ¿De qué tú estás hablando? El Rayo McQueen dice... No, si no está viendo el directo, no. Oh my gosh.
No, le voy a decir.
¿Cómo? No.
No, a ver, espérate.
Funadísimo.
Moro, te voy a banear.
Vale.
Mira, le voy a decir. O sea, si he jugado contigo.
Dice el Pedro, que ride la Stronghold.
A ver,
Que
si tiene
raidaste
micro,
la
pero
Stronghold solo. No, morro, solo me fui.
Es que no tiene micro,
a
es que
esa
no.
aldea XD. No, Pedro, tú ya sabías que ahí estaba la Stronghold. Tú eres de esos, de los que andan robando Stronghold sin preguntar. Ojito con el nuevo morrillo. ¿Cómo te llamas, bro?
Es que no tiene micro. Es que
¿No tiene micro?
otra vez, es que Damián.
Bueno. Pero bienvenido, morrillo. Yo soy tu compa Morroloko. Apóyame, estamos en directo en YouTube como Morroloko, así como me llamo aquí.
Es que lo que me enseñaste, lo de eso.
Vale, ¿quién más falta, chicos, para que entre? Rayo McQueen, ¿cuál es tu nombre? ¿Eres el Rayo Serrano? ¿Eres el Rayo Serrano, Rayo McQueen?
Morro, vete al chat que le estoy diciendo a mi amigo porque para que hable, porque no tiene.
Dice Damián, 20 por la configuración, ok.
Dile tú.
Pero para escribirle.
Sí, para decirle cómo hablar porque no sabe. No se fue.
No se fue. A ver, ¿quién más falta? El Rayo McQueen, ¿cuál eres tú entonces? El Pedro dice, entonces, morro, estoy castigado en tu mundo. Pedro, pero a ver, ¿por qué haces eso? Ni modo que no me digas que no. Tú ya sabías que ahí estaba la Stronghold y todo el rollo. Oh my god. Rancho McQueen dice, ¿cuánto te va a estar en el directo? 1 hora y media más o menos, de aquí a la 1. Todavía tenemos bastante tiempo.
Le dije vete a conversación en el chat, ¿no?
¿En el chat qué?
En el chat. No, en el configuración de que para que pueda hablar.
Settings.
No, le estoy diciendo, vete en el chat.
Donde dice chat.
No, morro, le puedes decir pulsa para enviar un mensaje para que él entienda.
No, escribirle no, escríbele tú, porque estoy jugando un control ahorita. Vamos a ver, el Rating dice, morro, ¿por qué Víctor es mod? En su información dice que se unió en agosto y ya con mod. No, es que esa es otra cuenta. Ese chaval tiene más tiempo aquí. Dice Víctor, pues ya me tengo que ir, tengo que acabar un evento en el Call of Duty. Rancho, ¿cuál es tu nombre, Rancho? Después, ¿a qué van a jugar? Después hay 2 horas de descanso para ir a ver las FNCS. Y a las 3, de 3 a 6 jugamos Minecraft. Chicos, ¿quién más quiere que los invite ahí en el chat?
Pone aquí.
Face Vision, RC Rank, Rico tu tío, Santer.
A ver, le estoy diciendo que pone equipo, o sea, en la del de configuración.
Face Vision. Sí, ajá, te van a settings y luego el chat y el primero donde dice voice chat o chat de voz
y le dice y le pone, permite el chat de todo el mundo, le pone el chat, ahora voy a decir, pon el que dice
dice fan de Chins Morro. Yo miré temprano por un server de Discord de youtubers y como yo soy uno, a ver si gano los $150. ¿Ya está, Champs? Perdón, fan de Champs. Listillo. Dice el Víctor, llevo desde los 700 subs. Sí, el Víctor ya tiene rato aquí. Nada más que esa es otra cuenta. Dice el Víctor, bueno, mejor me quedo. Me dieron ganas de quedarme. Ya está red. Perdón, Víctor. Perdón, sí, Víctor. ¿Hoy has jugado Fortnite? Sí, hoy voy a jugar Fortnite, pero hasta la noche.
El
Pedro dice, Morro,
ya
yo sabía
Hola.
que estaba ahí el Stronghold, pero
ya habla, Morro.
No, pues por eso no te voy a banear, o sea, porque se nota que te arrepentiste.
Ya habla mi amigo. Mira, hola.
Hola.
Buenas.
Pero ¿qué pasa, Morrillo? Bienvenido con tu compa Morroloco. ¿Sí sabes quién soy?
Sí, es el que jugó con su hermano, el otro que bien peleonero con él.
GG.
Pero
Vámonos, pues.
mira, te puedo decir algo. Él hace directos de YouTube, de Twitch, y se sube TikTok, Discord tiene y Instagram. Y ya, tienes que ir en sus redes. Por ejemplo, él está en YouTube,
Twitch,
y tienes que
y hacemos directos de Rocket League, Among Us, Fall Guys, Minecraft, Fortnite.
Yo siempre juego con él todo el día. Por ejemplo, como Rocket League, porque
Pedro, fue de chill. Pedro, cámbiale, vele cambiando tu forma de ser. Me caes muy bien y no te quiero banear. ¿Lo que siempre qué? Ojo, se cambiaron del chat de voz. ¿Qué pasó? A ver, ahorita revisamos qué pasó con el chat de voz.
le estoy diciendo a mi amigo que se vaya al canal de grupo porque cuando le dijo que le ponga el chat de equipo es que se le va solo, se le quita esa.
Vale. Sí, que lo ponga siempre en canal de
grupo. Ah, sí, perdón, es que me equivoqué. Bueno, yo ahorita lo pones, Damián, Se llama Damián.
No manches, ese iba a ser un golazo.
No.
Uy, ellos solo la taparon. Buena.
Sácala.
Tremenda victoria sin ganar, sin hacer nada.
Es que también es chistoso, mi amigo.
Buenísima.
Él hace fake. Ya, hace fake. Vuelo. Es de que cuando tengas el pelota te fakeas a alguien.
Como que le haces como que vas a ir a un lado, pero te vas al otro.
Ah, una finta.
Como que le vas a... O como, ajá.
Salve.
Ya.
El Emanuel y yo nos conocemos en el fútbol.
Sí.
Como a los 5 años o a los...
Es cierto, 5 años. ¿Ves? Out, me ocupaste. Malo.
Viendo que soy.
Vuelo. ¡Ay, casi! Sácala. Buena. Voy. ¡No! Bueno, voy a ir a configuración. Voy a configuración para ir al...
El Matt Gallo dice, hola morro, ¿qué pasa Matt Gallo? Estoy enfermo. ¿Cómo que estás enfermo, morrillo? ¿Qué pasó? ¿Qué tienes?
Para ponerle canal de chat de voz de...
No, es que no me llama el Tilín, pero llevé cuando el patrón...
Ya te mete el grupo. Ahora pícale el grupo para que ya...
Buscando.
Voy. No voy.
Yo creo que lo configura mejor cuando terminemos el partido, ¿no? Porque si no
Sí.
va a haber quesadilla.
Manches.
Es que no
Dice el Matt Gallo, tengo tos. No, morrillo, pues ojalá y te mejores. Dile a tu mamá que te dé una cucharadita de miel con ajo para que te ayude a curar la garganta. Miel con ajo. O que te haga un caldito de pollo con mucho ajo y cebolla. Eso ayuda también a la garganta. Yo me quedo en la cancha. Uy, qué golazo. Uy.
Golazo.
¡Golazo! GG.
A mí no me gusta de volado, solo que le da pena.
Ya sí.
Poco a poco se
Pero
va a quitar
juego
la pena,
bien
ya que
cuando
recompensa.
Yo sí juego mucho. Yo sí juego Rocket League porque quiero estar practicando, jugar torneos. Torneos significa que puedes ganar todas las... Que tienes que aguantar todas las igualdades.
No tengo turbo.
Ey, Damián, te digo que ya soy champion, ¿eh?
¿El champion? ¿Ya eres?
Sí.
Es trampa.
¿Te dan de su trampa?
Vamos, morros, ustedes pueden.
¡Ay, casi!
Yo les defiendo la cancha.
Van a pegarle, cuidado. Okay.
Vale, compadre. ¡A la tienes! Buenísima.
¡Ay, casi!
GG.
Como que buenísimo.
Pues sí, fue un buen tiro.
No manches, no alcancé.
Voy. No voy. La pegamos.
Yo sí voy. Bueno, no. Te la dejé.
Vamos, chicos, todos que estén viendo en directo, no se les olvide dejar su like. Y si son nuevos, suscríbanse, den like, de la campanita. Vénganse a jugar con su compa Morro Loco. Todo el día, todos los días.
Sáquela, necesito turbo. ¿Buena?
Ahí estás.
Dios, fallé.
Ahí está el pase. Ay, casi nada. Ay, necesito turbo, es lo que necesito. Si no tengo
Chilling.
Mira la portería, y ya voy.
No, yo acá estoy, ¿por qué te vienes a la portería?
No, es que voy a agarrar turbo y por eso no tengo.
Ah, bueno, espérate que yo estoy cuidando la portería. Si quiere cuidarla a alguien más, me dice y yo salgo y meto goles.
Ah, ok.
¡Ay! Ahí está también.
Era fake.
Era de chill.
Ay, qué asco. Es que los tres están defendiendo.
Ok, fallé.
Es que
Tremendo
les
que
da
soy.
miedo.
Me tiene miedo.
No,
¡Oscu!
me jugando muy mal.
Osuna.
Estoy al centro. No, muy.
Le pegué muy mal. De chill.
A la bestia. Porque solo a mí me chocan. Te choqué una vez y a mí me chocan 1000 veces. Ay, los exploté.
Pues igual, ya les caíste mal. Yo estoy aquí en la cancha, ¡Ojo, qué golazo! ¡Casi!
Ay, en su turbo.
¡Casi!
No, ve Damián, pero no se lo pases. No se lo pases, te dije. Ahí está buena. Ahora necesitamos sacarla.
Listo.
¡No!
Sáquesela ya.
El fake. Era fake.
Sácala, Damián. Dale.
Uy,
Estoy buenísimo.
se viene el final. El final. Bueno, la que sigue la ganamos. Dice el Fabio González, ¿puedo jugar? Claro que sí, Fabio. Suscríbete, dale like a la campanita y agrégame. Ya que me agregues y te suscribas y me sigas en mis redes sociales, en Instagram, TikTok y Twitch como MORROLOKO Oficial. Ya te invito, perdón. Very rare wheels.
Ok, Fabio.
Play again. Fabio,
Uniqua.
ahí dice Fabio González.
Fabio, Uniqua, Tyrone.
Así se llama mi papá. Así, pero no
Pablo.
Así, Fabio. Ah, pues acá está tu papá entonces, esperando jugar.
Ando dormido, güey. Ando dormido.
No es cierto.
Roncando.
A mí.
Código, pasa código. Código
Lea,
Morroloco en la
lea,
tienda de
lea,
Fortnite,
lea.
brother. Agrégame como Morroloco, ahí está en la parte inferior del
Voy a ponerme.
del directo. Ve la campanita donde está la campanita, ve la pantallita donde está mi carrito, ahí dice Morroloco, así es como me puedes agregar.
Buenas.
Mira, o sea, Damián, tienes que quitar configuración y te vas al chat de eso. Y luego ya le picas al canal de grupo y así ya.
Ok.
¿Ok?
Chat. No, canal de grupo.
Buena.
¿Dónde dice canal de
Sí.
grupo?
Chats, ahí te dice. Ahí
Dice
te
el Oscar
aparece
Boy,
equipo.
morro. Hoy es la
¿Dónde
boda
dijo?
real de Lord y Salir, ojo.
No, o sea,
En
el
el Fortnite, a
el
la
canal de
mecha.
voz preferido, pon grupo.
Listo.
Dice el Fabio
Ya, ahora
ya.
sí.
Perfecto, Fabio. ¿También ya me estás siguiendo en mis redes sociales?
Buenísimo.
En Instagram, TikTok y Twitch. Dame un follow en Twitch, brother. Para que te pueda invitar.
No. No tengo turno.
¿Nosotros
Ay, lo
metimos
siento.
gol?
Ay, lo siento. Sí,
¿Qué horas que no vi por andar leyendo el chat?
sí, es que yo metí gol.
Amigo, trae. A la. ¿Por qué siempre a mí? Siempre me tienen que explotar.
Te odian.
¿Qué les hice? Ni les he chocado, ni me he movido casi.
Te odia, Adrián.
Me odian el juego. Ayuda.
Vamos, ahorita te invito.
Cuidado,
Dice, ya te seguí todo. Sí,
cuidado.
ahorita te invito, Fabio. Dame un segundo. ¡No! ¡Buena!
Exploté.
¡No!
Ay,
Ya no pude recuperarme
no,
después.
saqué.
Chill, chill,
Casi
chill.
la saqué.
Chill,
Es que
chill.
ya le iba a pegar al otro, pues, por eso yo le pegué a otro gol.
Ahí está, se llama Nochel07. Vale, vamos a invitar a
Manuel.
Nochel. Ponte el
¿Dónde?
Nochel07.
¿Y por qué sale 1-1?
Ponte el Nochel.
Y tú metiste el gol.
¿Por qué no apareces
sé.
Nochel07?
No,
¿Cómo te llamas la
Te la
parte?
pasé, Manuel.
No puedo que la vaya a pegar el otro.
¿Cuál
No
es esa
podemos
parte, Nochel?
perder. Tú eres-
Se te
tú
cambió el
eres
nombre.
champion. Y él es oro. Y él es morro.
¿Yo soy oro? A la vincha. ¿Cómo sé que soy oro?
Era fake. Pues poniendo el L1 de ahí. Bueno, ¿de dónde juegas?
De consola, pero estoy en control de Xbox. Perdón,
yo
soy de
también.
computadora, pero en control de Xbox.
Ah, bueno, dile tú, Emanuel. Yo soy de Play. Digo, trejas, hasta se escucha sus piqueos al Emanuel.
Ay, lo siento.
Que no le di, perdón.
Espérate, también.
Está planeado.
Pégale, que no le meten gol.
Listo, le pegué al
Nadie nos va a meter gol aquí. Somos los que
Nos acaban de meter
mandamos. GG.
Pedíamos éticamente.
Dice el Fabio, ya te envié la Soli, pero no te encuentro, bro. O sea, te envié tu nombre, pero después ya no te volví a ver. Estaba medio raro tu nombre. ¡Ojo! 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 Buena.
Casi, bro. Ay,
Manches, perdí.
¡La la! Chulada, casi la tapo.
Ese va.
Listo. P-A-Q-T. P-A. Pato. Para pam. Pene pam pam. Para pam 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 pam. Pam. Pene pam pam. Para pam 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 pene pam pam.
vamos, ayuda, que me están matando.
¿Cómo que ayuda? Si aquí estoy. Soy el arquero momoloco.
Haciendo, bro. A
Pegarle.
pegarle.
Dice el Fabio, te invito. A ver, sí, invítame para ver cuál es tu nombre, Fabio, porfa. Dice el Timmy, sí. ¿Qué andas haciendo, Timmy? Bienvenido al directo, morro. ¿Qué cuentas, mi panita?
Cuidado. Tócale. No.
No manches, no le
A mí me hacen los mandados estos chavales.
No, sáquela.
Sáquese por allá. ¡Oh, la pincha!
Casi.
Buenísima, ¿eh?
la mete aquí. Ah, no tengo turbo. Soy el rey del
También.
sin turbo.
Yo también.
¿Recuerdas, Emanuel, que soy el rey de que no tiene turbo nunca?
Es cierto.
Que siempre me lo quitaban.
Dice el Sarito, ah, ya, morro, quiero
Turbo,
jugar con
tengo
Morro Loco.
turbo, se hackeó.
Dale, Sarito.
Me siento más con suerte porque tengo turbo. La pre- No.
Vamos, chicos, para adelante.
Regresa. Ok, es lo que estoy haciendo.
Yo regreso. Suban.
Ok, vámonos, Emanuel. Emanuel para el otro lado.
Buena.
¡Au!
Ajá, pero me decías, tú también me chocaste.
Salgo como Alejandro. A ver, ahorita te busco como Alejandro, bro. Deja que termine la partida. Ya viene,
Ay, no.
se pone muy intensa esta partida. Somos hackers. La vamos a ganar porque somos hackers.
Yo pensé que éramos dioses. No,
¡Ojo!
no,
Vamos,
no.
full. Todos para adelante. Full.
¡Es Seba!
Vamos. Ahí está. No, me pegaste, no.
No, es que ya iba frente, pero el temporita muerta a mí.
Manuel, no hace tanto falta.
¡Qué golazo!
¡Vamos!
No, tremenda partida. GG.
Tremendo
Ojito,
balazo,
nadie puede contra de nosotros.
Ayuda.
GG's.
Yo solo estoy aquí porque me secuestraron.
Pues fíjate, gracias a ese secuestro has ganado.
Dale,
Vamos para afuera para
salgan,
invitar, ¿no?
salgan,
Vamos para afuera.
sí.
Ajá, para invitar a
¿A
los
cuál
demás.
escuadrón?
Hay varios que quieren entrar. Está el Sarito, está el Fabio. El Timmy dice, sí, ¿qué andas haciendo, Timmy? El pana. Vamos a ver, acá está Alejandro. Apareces como Alejandro, perfecto. Es que tenías un nombre raro. A ver, Alejandro.
Se había cambiado el nombre, usted usando otra cuenta.
Decline. A ver, no me apareces como Alejandro. A ver, acá está el Sarito. Vamos invitando al Sarito. Invitamos al Daniel a ver qué anda haciendo. Samuel, compadre, Jalish, Reflex, Juno Sarit, Noche el 07. ¿No serás este, Alejandro, el Noche el 07? O el RC Frank, el Rico Pollo, el Tu Tío 07. ¿No serás alguno de esos, brother? Nochel. ¿Dónde estás? ¿Nochel 07?
Este es el Daniel.
No, Nochel Z. Bienvenido, Daniel. Sí, el Daniel siempre juega con nosotros, por eso lo invité. Sí.
¿Y por qué? ¿Y no andan viendo el directo?
Sí, ahorita se va a poner bien directo. Él ya lo invito y se pone a ver el directo, siempre apoya. Ojito con el pedazo de suscripción que me acaba de dar Dylan en mi canal de YouTube. Muchas gracias, Dylan, por apoyar mi canal de YouTube. Gracias, brother. Se agradece mi pana. A ver. Nochel, ya te invité, Nochel. ¿Ya entró Sarito? Vamos a ver, Rico Pollo.
Sí, dice Alejandro.
Perfecto, entonces vamos a ver. Está Daniel, Sarito, compadre y el Alejandro.
3 contra 3.
Listo. Vámonos. Todos contra mí solo para que vean cómo me los peto. Todos contra mí solo para que vean cómo me los peto.
No,
Son
Morro,
botcitos
tú y yo
ustedes.
y el... Morro,
Son
tú y yo
botcitos
y...
ustedes.
Morro, tú y yo y el Rey Fryer.
Vale. Nosotros 3 contra ellos.
Dígame,
Dale.
Daniel.
El equipo azul.
¿Cómo? Fraire, ya está, Fraire. Fraire. Dice el Retirín pronto video de Morro haciendo nivel de Geometry Dash con los subs. Ojo, ¿hacemos Geometry Dash? Vale, me lo instalo.
Lo juegan teléfono.
¿Qué es esto? A ver, ahí está.
Ya.
Y ponemos un...
Rumble.
¿Rumble? Ok, rumble. Listo. Vamos. ¡Let's go!
Dale, acá ganando esta.
GG's. Dice Dylan, ¿puedo jugar? Claro que sí, Dylan. ¿Eres nuevo seguidor, nuevo suscriptor?
Dale,
¿Ya te suscribiste?
azul.
Ya me seguiste en mis redes sociales, en
Vengan al
Instagram, TikTok y Twitch.
Oigan, vengan al
como
azul.
MORROLOKO Oficial.
Ahí está.
Sígueme ahí en mi canal como MORROLOKO Oficial, brother.
Ustedes vayan a la naranja.
Ñam.
Te la dejé.
Hola.
Porque siempre a mí ya empezaron los choques.
No sé.
No, aquí se lo pasan rompiendo las pelotas siempre.
No,
Soy yo
no,
la
sáquenlo.
pelota.
¡Hola, vincha! ¡Hola,
Soy yo, la
vincha!
pelota está más
¡Sáquese por
chiquita de
allá!
lo normal.
¡No!
La metí siquiera yo. La metí
la
siquiera
pelota-
yo.
La pelota está más chiquita de lo normal, siento.
Dice el
Bueno,
día,
la
sí,
bueno,
ya
la
como desde
metí
3
que
días, pero se me olvidó suscribirme. Vale, suscríbete,
Ah,
brother, no
de la
pasa nada.
configuración
Y
esa.
también sígueme en mis redes sociales, en Instagram, TikTok
Vaya,
y Twitch,
vaya,
como
vaya.
Morroloco Oficial. Ahí está arriba, abajo del marcador, cómo se escribe la palabra Morroloco Oficial, brother. Buenísima, buenísima.
¿Ah, te lo mandé arriba?
A ver, no alcancé.
No, tenía pinchos.
Tengo lapa.
Ojo, ojo, se viene, ojo, se viene.
Se venía.
Ey, ¿a qué hora nos metieron gol?
Pues ahorita.
Pincha, andaba leyendo el chat. Dice
No.
Lita, ¿me puedo unir? Claro que sí, Ethan, bienvenido, te invito, bro.
No manches.
¿Qué dice España, tío?
Hostia, tía. Bueno, ya.
Param, pam, param. Pelan. ¡Uy, se la dejé el Sarito! En bandeja de plata. Y no hizo nada por noob. Es bien noob el Sarito. Vamos a ver si el Ethan ya está conectado. Listo, ya está conectado el Ethan. Dice el Ethan, el euro subió a la vencha. Demostrando poderío como siempre. Tenía que ser español. ¡No! ¡Tremendo golazo! Dice el Dylan, bro, entonces ¿sí puedo jugar? Claro que sí, Dylan, agrégame. En la parte de abajo de la pantallita del stream está como me llamo, MORROLOKO. Así está, como mi canal de YouTube. Como mi nombre de Epic Games. Ahí está en la parte de abajo, brother. Ahí estoy como MORROLOKO. Uy, se metió Ethan con nosotros. No, ya, valieron caca. Los destrozamos. Les hicimos tres niños y ni siquiera se dieron cuenta. Dice el Ethan después de bajar. Vincha. Chicos, no se les olvide dejar su like. Pedazo de like. Va.
¡Ay, casi!
Va.
Bebé.
Bi.
Babo.
Bu.
Autogol.
No puede ser, qué golazo. Qué tremendo golazo. Yo ya voy a festejar. Desde ahorita. Se viene un gol.
Se venía.
Se viene un gol.
¡No!
Ojo. Les dije que voy a
Buena.
festejar. Me la pasé festejando.
Qué bueno.
GG. No, pobres chicos los otros.
Qué bueno
el
que
otro
congelé
team.
la pelota.
Déjame voy
Trabajo
con
entre
ellos y
tres.
no van a perder. Chicos,
Ujú.
no los abandono. Simplemente les voy a ayudar al otro team, ¿vale?
Ok.
Porque el Ethan y el compadre están locos.
Ya sé.
Corre para adelante, Alejandro. Corre para adelante. Corre. Tú sal. Sáquese por allá, perro.
Tengo pinchos. Tenía. Bueno, no, tengo.
Y luego, al parecer, el fraile también le sabe jugar bien. Entonces, imagínate una triada con el Ethan, el compadre y el fraile. No, hombre, están locos.
Ah, no, la había pasado para el Ethan.
Vamos. Se viene.
Venía.
Sáquese por allá. ¡Oh, la pincha!
¡Oh, Ethan!
Era.
Vamos. Buena, chicos, buena. Yo estoy aquí defendiendo.
¿Qué haces, Ethan?
¡Se viene!
Uy,
Dale, Daniel, dale, Sarito, dale, Alejandro.
¿Qué haces?
Ya te
Tengo
añadí,
pincho, llevo
invítame,
como
porfa.
2 horas con
Voy,
el
voy, voy.
pincho y no lo he usado.
Voy Dylan, dame un segundo. Nada más déjame defender acá a mi team. Tengo que defender a mi team. Sáquese por allá, dije. Sáquese por allá.
Ok,
Buenísima, buenísima.
está loco. La llevo por arriba.
¡No! Me explotaron, malditos.
¡Oh, le exploté!
¡No, la metí yo! Soy subnormal. Perdón, chicos, según yo les estaba ayudando y terminé.
Tiene la canción del... ¿Cómo se llama? Michael Myers.
Ahí está, se llaman Dylan LR. Aceptar e invitamos al Dylan. ¿Dónde está el Dylan?
Ay, ahora van a ser 5.
Dylan, aquí está.
No, van a ser 4
Invite
contra
the
4,
party.
no vale 5.
Sí, ya 4 contra 4.
Dylan, vente contra nosotros, con nosotros.
Sí. Bienvenido, Dylan.
Se
¿Sí sabes cómo
traiga.
meterte?
¿Por qué a mí?
¿Ya se metió Dylan o no?
Sí.
No sé.
Sí, ya.
Ah.
¡Sáquese por allá! ¡Qué golazo! ¡Tremendo golazo! No, hombre. Soy hacker. Soy
Tremendo.
un mega hacker. Vean eso. ¡Mocos! ¡Sáquense por allá, perros! Ahí les va.
A la vez, así todo 8 de tiros. A la vez desde lejos, mira.
Ya sé.
Yeah.
Somos ya muchos. Yo voy a estar de portero. Por si viene otro tiro con un puño. De pura casualidad.
¿Cómo que Litan? No, celos.
Messi. Mira,
Me
mira.
quiero cambiar de equipo.
Encara Messi.
Dios, ya me está dando
Bueno,
miedo mi equipo.
en realidad él tendría que ser el CR7 porque ese es europeo, ¿no? ¿O quién tendrá que ser?
Es Portugal, es portugués.
Él es portugués, no, entonces no. Entonces tendría que ser Piqué. Piqué.
Maradona,
No, Maradona es también latino, es latino. Uf, buenísima partida, chicos.
Otra.
Buenísima, la verdad,
creo
muy
que
buena
perdimos,
La
partida.
revancha.
Ok.
Muy, pero muy buena partida, chat. Escriban todos GG en el chat.
GG. Listo.
No,
cuál
pero en el
equipo?
chat del directo.
Listo, ya.
Naranja. Yo, Manuel, vete al naranja.
Perdón. Ya, ahí puse GG.
Ah, espera, yo no. Yo ni tengo algo para. Ni tengo algo para poner en YouTube.
¿Cómo? No estás viendo el directo, mi pana. Apóyame.
No me dije entonces falta.
Una computadora, un celular. ¡Qué loco está ese compadre! ¡Qué loco!
Ah, sí, el Manuel es un tryhard, es loco. Un mendigo tryhard, así yo le digo. Su segundo nombre para mí es mendigo tryhard.
Esperan.
Yo estoy de portero, ¿eh? Ni habíamos usado los poderes y ya metió gol. ¡Uy, golazo! Ah,
No, me agarraron yéndome de reversa, no.
¿alguien quiere
Sorry,
cambiar?
chicos.
Ya me dio miedo el Emanuel.
Sorry, chicos.
El Emanuel está loco, me está dando miedo más la canción.
Dice el super Drisita, dice también, te envié Soli, soy chica zombie 16, ahorita te invito chica zombie 16. No te creas, estamos llenos. No te creas, estamos llenos, pero... ¡Hola, pincha! ¡Tremendo golazo!
¡Loco!
Nos están haciendo caca, morros.
¡Ayuda!
Nos están haciendo caca.
Hay
Nos
puros
están
locos
haciendo
en mi
caca.
equipo.
Nos están haciendo caca, chat.
A mí no me dejan
A
hacer
ver,
nada,
vamos a
ya
ver
me dio miedo.
si ya me mandó. Uy, no te llamas chica zombie. Te llamas Drisan, pero te acepto. Bienvenido, bienvenida, Drisan.
¿Daisan o Drisan?
Drisan.
Ah.
Pase,
Dice que
pase.
se llama chica zombie, pero no, se llama Drisan. ¡Oh, la pincha!
¡No!
¡Ya!
Está planeado.
¡Ya!
Me dejé. Por ahora. Era fake. Como siempre.
Ahí está, sí se llama chica zombie. Es que es nombre distinto. ¿Ya? ¿Por qué se cambian los nombres? Porque hay 3000 nombres. Uno para su cuenta de Epic, otro para su cuenta de
Roblox.
No, de Roblox. Otro sí, pónganse el mismo en todos.
Me voy a llamar me llamo
es más
Reda
divertido.
Freire. Y en Roblox me llamo Reda.
¿Cómo que
No,
más
Reda
divertido?
Freire.
¿Cómo que más divertido?
Ahorita jugamos un actor de color y cambiamos de equipo.
Vale.
Voy. No voy.
Yo tampoco. Dejen de traigarear. Ya saben todo.
¡Qué
mejor.
asco! No, la metí yo.
Ya no quiero jugar.
Me
Ya
lleva.
no jugar.
Tremenda goliza.
Si estoy de chill.
Dice el super risitas, invítame, pero es que ya somos 8, morrillo. Dame un segundo para ver quién se cansa de jugar y te invito, bro. Sigan el directo, chill. Porque puede ser que ahorita hagamos, no sé, un torneo, ya que somos muchos. Hacemos un torneo.
Y el torneo se juega como de muchas personas.
De dos.
No.
Creo que sí se
empujaron.
podría de 2, porque somos 8 más 1, 9. Nada más sería cuestión de volvernos locos.
¡Oh!
No.
¡Ya, me digo locos! ¿Alguien quiere cambiar? No, mentira, es que quiero ganar, pero a la vez están locos estos.
Mira, acá me está invitando que se llama como chica zombie. Y ahí, acá dice que se llama Dris Han.
No pueden, ya, tranquilo.
Ay, explota uno, quiero explotar. Alejandro. Te llamas igualito que mi hermanito. Bueno, se llama Alejandro, pero le llamamos Alejandro.
¡Abuelo!
¡No!
¡Hala, locos!
Pincha. Buena mecha
Vaya.
en desama.
Ya, por favor. Tranquilos.
Tranquilos.
Llevo 30 puntos, tranquilos. Tranquilidad, casi no usamos los poderes.
¿Qué te pensaba?
No puede ser.
¡Locos!
Le vas a dejar
Oh my
quizás,
God.
Ya estoy pillando el truco a los poderes.
Morro,
¿Qué onda?
tú no deberías de ser el loco. Por algo te llaman morroloco.
Claro.
Pero porque ellos son los locos. Creo que se contagiaron.
La mecha, buena mecha en desama. Buena mecha en desama.
Tin.
¡Ojo, golazo! ¡Qué golazo!
No, pero ¿por qué me pegan? ¿Quién fue el que me pegó? No.
Porque soy el
Oh
único
my
que no hace
gosh.
nada.
Oh
Pues
my
porque estás en la
God.
portería.
Pero yo soy portero. De la vida real.
Pium.
Lo siento.
Espera.
Ahora me cansé de quedarme ahí.
Uy, esa pelota está congelada
¿Por
y se está
qué?
moviendo.
Se
Oh my
vengó el
God.
Alejandro y mató a 2.
Siento. ¿Qué vas a pasar tú?
Se viene. No, me la quitaron. Qué asco.
la tenía.
Que lo empujen, dice. Que lo empujen.
No. Ah, ¿quiere
Todos
que te empuje a ti?
todos
¿Quiere que te empuje a ti? ¿Quiere que te empuje a ti? Quiero que te empuje a ti.
Sí. ¡Hola, pinche!
Au.
Tremendo hacker ese chaval, ¿no? Tremendo.
Ya sé.
Y aparte es un hacker hater. Es un hacker. Sí.
Me exploté con uno, pero me explotó también.
Deja de hacer.
Pene.
No, ¿me la puedes dejar, por favor? ¿Me la puedes dejar, por favor? Porque te... ¿Me dijiste?
Explota uno. Al salir. No.
¡Qué golazo! La chulada! Sáquese por allá. ¡Hola, pincha!
No, es que sí. Sí se
¡Qué
lo
golazo!
tomó muy...
¡Tremendo! ¡No!
Sí se lo tomó muy literal lo de empujar al Emanuel.
Deja, ahora tengo fuerza.
So.
Uy. Después de calor, ahora sí, después de calor.
¡Vámonos! Muy buena
Casi
partida,
perdemos.
morros. Muy buena, muy buena. Muy buena, muy buena.
Torneo.
No. Ahorita.
Ah, bueno, expulsa al Emanuel. No, mentira.
Oye, tienes que ver el directo del Temporada cuando hace el torneo, ¿ok?
GG. A ver, vámonos en play, custom, private, create a private. Y ahora nos damos a hit a checa. Listo, hit a checa. Hit a checa. Dice el Rating, GGG's. Y denle en random,
Mira,
chicos, denle en
no te-
random. Denle en random.
¿Cuál me fue?
Otra vez. Hola,
Para, para,
chicos. Mira,
pam,
chicos, vamos a
Para
ganar.
pam 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 pipi, pam
Creo que ya
para
perdimos.
pam.
Ah, no. Ya va a quedar la portería, ¿ok? Cala.
Pues aquí en este se trata de quedarse en la portería.
Tengo Emanuel, traja. Déjanos decir algo. Ah, ya
Voy a-
terminó. A la bestia.
¡Qué golazo! ¡No! ¡Tremendo golazo! ¡No,
pasó ahí?
hombre!
A ver, ustedes
¡No,
tres defiendan.
hombre!
Ustedes tres defiendan.
Esos
¿Para qué le pegas a la
disque
pelota, Manuel?
buenos, esos disque buenos, nos los vamos a
Bro,
apretar bien
bro,
fácil.
ustedes-
Oh my God.
Ah, es que Leta no dejó.
No llegué.
Cuando en mi perspectiva,
Ya, bueno, ustedes defiendan. Ustedes defiendan.
la
En tu
persona se transporta.
¡Oh! Tremendo fake. Ah, bueno, ya no tenemos que hacer nada mientras ellos se pelean con la pared. Ah, me chocó. Ah, sí, Manuel, no me deja hacer nada.
¡No llegué! ¡No!
Ahora
Dice el Oscar
explotador.
Boy, Sarid ya está todo listo, ¿eh?
Ok,
Ojito,
yo voy a
Sarito.
explotar. Yo voy a explotar y ustedes cubren la portería. A explotar, digo. Yo no dije nada, A empujar.
Ey, que exploten
La
el
pelota.
fraire. Que exploten el fraire, dijo.
Está premiado. Morro.
¡Qué golazo! ¡Qué golazo!
Ahí tienes que estar atento.
¡Ya!
Vamos. ¡Tírale, tírale! ¡Buena!
A los dos los bloquearon.
Es que pilotea el morroloco.
Solo así van a poder. Dice el Oscar Ball, pa' su boda real. Es como estar en Inglaterra, la bella.
¿Va a salir?
¡Qué golazo!
¡Qué asco este
A ver, Eitan, hay que hacerle bullying al Daniel ese porque es el único que vuela bien.
No, es que lo malo, el otro, el ¿cómo se llama? El
Fuerte,
Cake.
voy por ellos. ¡Acuerda! ¡Explótenlo! ¡Buena! ¡Ay! No, no, porque me escapó el morro.
¡No!
Vamos, lo distraje. Estaba planeado.
Malditos.
Estaba planeado, lo distraje.
Te puso la internet.
Buena mecha, Indesama. I'm a heart beat sound. Muy fan del Lobe.
Pero no. Va, salir.
And the listing ground.
¡Buena!
Justo aparecí y no alcancé a brincar.
Qué bueno que flota el morro.
Are the skies are blue. Vale, chicos, entonces hacemos un torneito.
No.
No, ya estamos en... Ahora sí, No, me brincó.
Jijijija. Jijijija.
¿Quién digo? Trae...
Sáquese por allá, sáquese por allá.
Salir.
Ahí voy a agarrar turbo. Francesco
Ándeles,
Bellini.
ándeles, perros. No, ¿cómo? Y aparte me petan.
¡Ese va!
¡A la vencha! Ándele. Ándele con su jijijija.
¿Cómo que jijija? Él no hizo jijija.
Yo hice
el
Seba.
fraile. El fraile dijo jijijija.
No, yo dije Seba.
Vencha, vencha.
Yo no quiero jugar un torneo, yo quería jugar así.
Pero yo sí.
Yo
Yo
no.
sí quiero torneo.
Yo no.
Bueno, pues no juegas.
Bueno, pues ok, yo no juego. A retirar.
No.
Bueno,
Venga, por ahora.
hacemos 2 contra 2, en serio. Vamos a hacer 2 contra 2.
Mi especialidad.
Pues sí, seríamos 4 equipos.
Ok, pues yo voy a ir con mi amigo Friday. La que sí
Para que se
Friday.
pongan a ver el directo, ¿va?
Ando explotando
No,
todo.
yo sí me
¿Cómo
pongo,
van a ver?
pero... Yo sí me pongo, pero él no.
Si
Ok,
no, ¿cómo
Emanuel,
van
tú
a-
me dices lo que pasa en el directo,
La contraseña.
Yo me hice la contraseña.
Estamos distrayendo a todos. Estamos explotando y el humo los distrae. Apúrense y metan uno.
¡Ah, la maldita vencha!
Voy, tranquilo, voy yo. Dije que voy yo.
¡Buena! ¡Uy!
¡Hombre!
Muy buenísimos haciendo eso. ¡Ey, les toca!
Hombre.
Oigan, les toca explotar a ustedes dos, Sariti y Emanuel, les toca.
Ok.
Vayan a explotar. Nosotros nos toca estar en la
Están y
portería.
Friday vayan a defender, ¿ok?
Ajá, estamos aquí. ¡Ya! ¡Nosotros, Emanuel!
No, le toqué yo. ¿Qué va? Explotaron apenas.
Me están golpeando.
Acá ya tengo el...
Gracias.
sáquese por allá.
¡Vamos! ¡Le empujé!
No.
Por sacarlo.
Damián, qué bien que te salvé porque le empujé uno, mira. Ya la iba a tapar, pero mira.
Pobrecito. Pobrecito, le hiciste la de John Cena.
Ah, voy a explotar, vamos a explotar. Vamos, ¿para dónde va esta? ¡Hala! Yo no voy a explotar, yo voy a mover la pelota. Ay, ya la creía. Pégale, ¿le puedes pegar? Ay, se la creyó, se la quiero trolear. Muérete para allá.
Tómala, perro. Tómala, perro.
No.
Ay,
Tómala, perro.
Vamos. De todos modos, le dimos
Nos
la
respeta
partida.
todo,
Última
no alcanzamos.
última partida.
con un gol.
Una más, pues, una más.
Última partida y jugamos el torneo.
Vale.
Así me
A
toca
ganar.
Vale, Billy.
La revancha. Esto es un juego divertido, es muy juego, juega muy bien ustedes.
Está bien chilo. Yo quiero explotar.
Ok,
Quiero
ustedes
explotar
vayan.
el morro.
Ok. ¿A cuál? No se elige.
No, denle random.
Ok, automático. Oh, naranja. Se de nuevo con el humano.
Ok, vayan a explotar. A ver, ¿quiénes va a explotar? Ok, tú.
Somos
Jaire.
3 contra 4.
No.
¿Ese salió?
¿Qué? Explotamos los dos, creo, ¿no? Sí.
Sí. No, ni modo que no.
Se puede.
¿Ana?
Tómala, perro.
¡Qué buen golazo!
Dios. No me deja ninguna. No. Nos estamos chocando entre nosotros.
Ñam.
¿Qué pasa?
Soy
Dijo
Francesco.
que iban a ir a un lugar papá y mi mamá. ¿Por qué está rosa?
Porque va rápido.
El nuevo este.
No.
Yo voy a explotar.
Buena, Titis.
Vamos a empujarnos, en serio.
No, a los otros.
¡No lo digas!
Digo, voy a empujarlos a ustedes. Ay.
No, lo siento, vato.
¡Qué
Lo
golazo!
siento, Sadit.
¡Qué
Gané.
golazo!
Ah, no,
Se activó la pari loca.
¿Quién te empujó?
¿Ven nomás esa pari loca? O bueno, no juguemos torneo, pues. Sigamos aquí en escuadrones, uno más. En 4 contra 4. Creo que ya nomás falta media hora porque vamos a ir a ver las finales de las FNCs.
Ahorita vas a matar, ¿no?
Espérense, si me trabó. ¡Ah!
Seitan. No, vete para allá.
Espérate, me apagaron la tele. No veo nada. Ayuda. Allá. ¡Mueran! ¡Mueren!
No, ¿qué haces?
Yo chocarte nunca.
Porque
¡Qué
me
golazo!
chocaste. Porque me chocaste.
Yeah.
Ya me chocaste, mira.
¿Qué? Yo no
Ve nomás
veía
esa
nada.
pari loca.
Me chocaste.
Ve nomás esa pari loca que
El
activó el
Rodrigo me
Daniel.
apagó la
3,
tele.
2, 1. ¡Pari loca!
El Rodrigo me apagó la tele. Ah, quita eso. Listo. Ah, me la apagó de nuevo. Deja de apagarme la tele. Enciérrate, mejor.
¿Quién te está apagando la tele, oh my
El
God?
Rodrigo, de malhumorado.
No.
Su hermano.
No.
No, pobre, ¿quién me peté?
Ay, ya.
No, pobre, ¿quién me peté?
¡Golazo que metí! Mira, mira.
GG's.
Damián ya.
No, es que el rollo me pegó.
¡Tómala, perro! ¡Tómala! ¡Tómala! ¿Cómo no te peté? No, y aparte me tengo el no, qué asco.
Vámonos.
Buena, buena, GG's. GG's.
Hola.
Sáquense por allá. Sáquense por allá.
Yo ando volando porque no quiero que me exploten. Y así voy a tapar todas.
Sarito se salvó. ¡El compadre no! Sí se salvó. ¡Toma! ¡No! ¡Tómala, perro! ¡Tómala, perro! ¡Tómala! ¡No! No lo exploté, pero sí le pegué. ¡Tómala! ¡Toma! ¡Tómala!
A la vez, no estoy dando un botón.
¡No! ¡Me destrozaron a mí! Dice el Sandro, hola, ¿cómo estás? ¿Qué pasa, Sandro? Pues mira aquí, matando moscas.
¡Amor!
¡No! Y las moscas nos metieron gol.
Yo chino contra Rocco, mira, 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 ahí nos explotaba, mira.
Ya regresé.
Mira, yo chino contra Rocco, mira, 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 mira.
Ya regresé.
Vamos ganando, papi.
Sí, es que el radio me está pegando.
Pero muy fuerte.
Sí.
No, tú eres muy fuerte que él, ¿cómo te va a pegar?
No, pero yo no tengo habilidad para pegar.
Aquí estoy por allá.
Me esquiva más. Tal vez yo solo sea más fuerte, pero él tiene más habilidad para golpear.
No manches, se pone difícil.
¡Ganamos!
Uy, buenísima. GG's.
Dale, torneo.
No creo que alcancemos el torneo porque ya queda poco tiempo. Mejor que sigamos en 4v4.
Ah.
Private, create a private. Vámonos a Snow Day.
¿Qué es eso? ¿Y
El
nevado?
de Nevado, sí. Fraire, el Fraire está peleando, ¿no? Dile a Fraire que sí puede salirse. Que deje de pelearse, que se salga.
Nevado. Oye, Freire. Damián. Es que le está pegando a su hermano y por eso su hermano es bien enfadoso.
Llámala a la casa de su mamá y dígale, oiga, mamá de Damián le está pegando a su hermano.
¿Cómo que mamá del Daniel? Mamá del Damián.
Por eso. Dice el Pedro.
No se llama
Daniel. Estaba comiendo. ¿Qué pasa, Pedro? ¿Qué comiste?
Salte, Damián. Damián, salte. Bueno, se sale el rato. ¿Qué vas a hacer? ¿Lo vas a escuchar o qué?
Pues sí, ¿no? Y ahorita lo invitamos. Ahorita invitamos de nuevo. Y ahorita ya que...
Le voy a volver a
Ya que
invitar, sí.
entremos, vuelvo a invitar.
No, yo no voy a invitar. Porque ya tengo invitado.
Ahorita. ¿No lo tienes agregado?
Lo tengo.
Ah, pues invítalo. Yo no lo tengo.
Atención. ¿Ven qué pasó? Ya.
Dice el Sandro, te dejo mi like y ya está, Sandro, gracias.
Mira,
por el brazo.
me lancé una almohada y solo por atraparla me volvió a golpear.
Maldito.
Y me va a volver a golpear.
No, le voy otra vez.
Dice el Pedro, ¿sabes lo que es chupa? Es arroz chino. Hola. Suena rico. Suena rico.
¿O qué haces? Au, au.
¡Qué asco!
Ay, lo siento.
Sáquese por allá. No, qué asco. Yo pensando que la había tapado bien chido. Y llega su team y le ayuda.
Yo soy...
Dice el Pedro, tiene de todo, pollo, salchichas, huevo y otras cosas. La chulada. Ese perro.
Pase a la derecha. Ay, casi. Dámela. Dámela.
¡Qué golazo! ¡No! No llegué. ¡Buenísima!
¡Oh!
No, bueno,
Así va a ser el torneo de la 1.
Ahorita a la 1 empieza, las FNCS empieza a la 1 en 18 minutos.
Es la gran final, a ver quién gana.
No, es el primer día de eliminatorias. Y ya mañana es las semifinales y la final. Van a ser 2 días de FNCS.
También dice... También dice que... También en el borde dice que tengo que hacer misiones de las leyendas del torneo ese. Que te dan 8000 de XP.
Vamos a hacerla.
¡Ay, lo siento!
Dice el Pedro,
Ahorita regreso. Voy a
Morrillo.
comer.
Ya está, Morrillo. Dale.
Voy a comer, ¿ok?
Por rápido porque se va a acabar el directo.
Sí, voy a
Mándale
ver.
solicitud de amistad para tenerte ahí agregado, bro.
Ah, sí.
¿Qué pasó?
Ándeles, perros.
¿Qué pasó, Damián?
Va a comer, dice.
Damián,
va a
¿por
comer.
qué? Damián, ¿por qué se escuchó tu hermano ahí?
¿Por qué me estaba pegando?
Y lo regañaron.
Sí. Sí, lloré, pero me estoy aguantando.
No.
Qué bien que lo regañaron. Fue un enfadoso, pero... Conmigo no es enfadoso, pero contigo sí. Bueno, con ustedes dos.
Contigo también a veces. Ah, ya te envié Soli, morro.
Yeah. Ahí te invito, más bien ahí te agrego luego.
Bye.
Déjame.
Dice Nico, hola morro, ¿cómo le va? ¿Qué pasa, Nico? Nico. Llega tarde mi pana, pero ahorita lo invitamos si quieres jugar. 15 minutos, 10 minutos, tú alcanzas. Sácate, Itan, tú no sabes hacer nada, Itan. Vete por allá a contar el oro de tu país. Casi me explota. Pela, no sabes ni hacer eso. Ven más. Chicos, del centro. Sáquese por allá.
Siento. Ya sé.
Vamos chicos, todavía alcanzamos a meter uno más. No.
Para mí.
Espérame.
Se fue toda esperanza.
Oye, mi amigo le estaba pegando a su hermano y tiene que lo regañaron. Y lo regañaron por enfadoso. Por enfadoso lo regañaron. Le estaba pegando el papá apenas por enfadoso.
Sigue Itan.
No, ¿qué haces?
No, morro. No, me la pusieron enfrente, chicos, mira, yo iba regresando, chécate. Iba regresando, me la pusieron enfrente y no, yo no sabía. ¿Cómo ibas a ver? No se puede. ¿Qué estás haciendo, Nico? ¿Qué platicas?
Pase.
¿Qué pase? Ni que nada.
Ya no van a meter gol.
Ándale, perro. Lo peté un segundo antes.
Dale, vamos a jugar un... ¿Cómo se llama?
¿Un qué?
A ver, voy a salir de... Ah, sí, un básquet.
Cierto,
Un básquet, hace mucho que no jugamos básquet.
Vale. Sí, cierto, hace mucho que no. Es que a mí no me gusta ese porque no lo puedo controlar para...
Ah, draw shot también.
No, el de básquet. Vamos a ver. Custom, Private, Create, Snow Day, Rumble, Drop Shot, Hita Checa, Soca, Hops. No, ¿cuál es el Hops? Rumble. Es el Hops, ¿verdad?
Sí. Si no, después es otra.
Ah, morro, ¿puedo entrar? ¿O están ocupados? Sí.
Sí, exactamente.
¿Estás viendo el directo? Sí, hay un espacio, de hecho. A ver, ¿estás conectado?
Ah.
Nico. ¿No estás conectado, Nico? Y dice Alzadito, luego Drop Shot. Sí, la última va a ser la de Drop Shot porque ya se viene el tiempo. Se viene el tiempo. ¿No estás conectado, Nico?
Lo siento, es que siempre empujo. Uy, ay, casi. Buena. ¿Cómo qué? Nada. Ay, casi. Au.
Estoy para avanzar. Quitar la mano. ¡No! Dice Nico, ahí voy, morro, dentro de 3 minutos. Dale, Nico, porque tienes 5 minutos para jugar. Porque nos vamos a ir a ver. ¡Buenísima! Ojito con ese bro. Pero si la sabe, si la arma. Porque nos vamos a ir a jugar más vamos a ir a ver la Season 10 ahorita. La voy a ver fuera de directo porque voy a ver si hago contenido de las mejores partidas.
¿Y qué va a hacer en Twitch o qué?
No, lo voy a hacer fuera de directo. No voy a hacer directo.
Ay, morro, eso es malo, amiga.
personas que me quieran ver viendo las FNCs nada más.
Sí.
Para ver si grabamos ahí contenido.
¡Te falló!
La pincha. Uy, Jelty lo va a poner en vivo, Jelty lo va a poner en vivo. Yo creo que vamos a ver. No lo alcanza a sacar. Vamos a ver a Jelty. En cuanto termine este directo, nos vamos a ver a ver cómo le va.
¿Ah, ya inició?
Buena mecha, in the summer. No,
¿Cómo
Jelty ya inició su directo. Bueno, aquí sí que está iniciando.
Sáquela. Pero se mueve mi equipo y van a morir. Van a morir todos. Chama. ¡Golazo!
¡No! ¡Otra vez! Ya estamos, Rumbita, dice el Nico Ni. Vamos, Nico Ni, que se te va el tiempo, Se te va el tiempo, Nico Ni. Aquí está Nico Ni. Ojito, no, Rodri, esta se va a resetar. Listo.
Ya se morro volando a las nubes. Váyase a nuestra portería. Pase para acá, a la derecha, por favor. Gracias.
Dale, Nico Ni.
Vete con ellos porque se me están matando.
Activa tu micrófono, Nico Ni. Ojito con el Kirby, dice, hola, ¿qué pasa, Kirby? ¿Cómo estás, morrillo? Bienvenido al directo, ¿qué cuentas? ¡No! No, iba cayendo. Kirbito. Dale, Kirbito.
Amaño, no manches, se las burló, necesitan nomás solo, ¿qué les pasa?
Ese Kirby está bien, vale, Kirby, vale, ya está Kirby.
Ya se para allá.
A mí de los Pokémon, dime Charizard.
Charizard. Amaño. Ahí está. Ah, bueno, no le pego. ¡Watch out! ¡Hostia!
Julián.
His name is John Cena.
Hola.
Dice el Soul, morro, creo que me pasé y una amiga se enojó. No, ¿qué le hiciste a tu amiga, Soul? Respeto a las niñas, aunque sean medio manchadillas, siempre. Pues yo le iba a detener. Aunque sean medio manchadillas, no, ve nomás tu golazo. Te salió de puro choro, ¿verdad, Ethan? No lo quisiste hacer así.
Es conocimiento de robots.
No te creo, no, es puro choro. Jamás había visto un gol así, con eso digo todo.
¡La bestia!
Es la primera vez que veo ese gol que hiciste.
Porque solamente lo hace no es bueno.
Pero fue un golazo. ¿Qué hiciste, Soul? ¿Qué fue lo que hiciste, mi pana? Mi pana Soul.
¿Otra vez?
Ese por allá. ¿Otro? ¿Otro? Uy, tremenda partida. Buenísima.
Dale, ahora drop shot, drop shot.
Vámonos al drop shot. GG's. Buena partida, chicos.
Ya no da tiempo.
Ya no da tiempo. Sí, da una más. Vamos a ver. Play. Custom. Private.
Pero, humo,
Create.
humo,
Vamos a ver.
humo.
Drop shot. Vamos, la última. De todos modos, yo puedo empezar a ver en mi celular cómo va el Yelty.
Mamá.
Dice el Soul, ya no me responde, XD, pero ¿qué le hiciste, Soul? Dime. Es que me desafió en un Clash Royale y la humillé, le dije que es fácil, ven.
Humo.
No humilles a tus amigos. ¿Qué pasa, compadre?
Qué raro que el bochito ya no juega.
Oye, sí es cierto, ¿verdad? Ya tiene unas semanas que no viene.
Sí.
Pencha.
Nosotros sí estábamos jugando todo el día,
Este
pero ya.
bullying.
Dice el Kirby, ¿me aceptas la Soli? Soy Hilarious Strappy. Vamos a ver. ¿Aceptamos al Hilarious Strappy? Claro que sí, Hilarious Strappy. Bienvenido, chaval. No te olvides de seguirme en mis redes sociales también, en Instagram, TikTok y Twitch, como Morroloko Oficial. Ahí está abajo del marcador de la partida. ¿Cómo se escribe Morroloko Oficial?
No, ¿por qué me empujan?
Pues porque eres empujable.
Empujando entre nosotros, no puede ser.
Eres empujable. Mientras seas un noob, vas a ser empujable.
Sí, tampoco. ¿Qué la pasa? No. Es que se la deja. Dale, llévatela, pero Daniel no se la quites.
Dice, creo que se
Daniel
molestó
dice-
bien feo. No, las amigas hay que respetarlas. Si eres mejor que él, dale por lo menos chance a que la dejes ganar no tan feo.
No, ¿qué haces? No, ¿qué haces?
Por cortesía, nada más.
Pásale a la izquierda, sí, a la izquierda. No, que no, eso no va a ser igual, no va a ser igual. ¿Tampoco?
Buena. Hola, pinche.
No, no, no.
Pinche.
¡Hola! ¡Lazo!
GG's. GG's. Vamos a ver. Acá está Yelty Mundial de Fortnite, de Valorant, Belly,
¿Cómo que crees?
Stream, Mongrel.
El contador.
Pásenos a uno que
¡Ay, Nico!
apenas somos 2 o 3 casi.
Voy. Ahí está, ya estoy. Uy, sí es cierto, los azules somos
Sí, es que está bien injusto.
3, no. Salito, vente con nosotros. GG, dice el Sol, creo que se molestó bien feo. En la siguiente me invitas. Ya no va a haber una siguiente, Kirby. Ya voy a terminar directa. Esta es la última.
¿A qué va a estar Rocket League? Digo, Fortnite.
No, Fortnite es hasta la noche, acuérdate. Fortnite siempre es hasta la noche, siempre.
¿Qué horas? Por eso.
A las 9.
Uy, muy tarde, te voy a bañar, a ver.
Sí, sí, sí.
Uy, sí, sí, dijo que sí. No, sácala, sácala, sácala. ¡No, lo siento!
¡Impresionante!
Lo siento, es que no sabía que había juego.
Ojito con ese
La saco, la salvo y la meto.
¿Qué significa
Además,
enching? Enching.
La Q significa que es una, es una palabra en inglés.
¿Significa qué?
La Q es como una letra A, porque es que no me podía poner la letra A, no me dejaba.
Ah, bueno, ¿por qué no la dejan?
Enchanting.
Enchanting.
¿Encantado?
Sí,
Ojo el encantador.
me dicen Romeo.
Gracias.
Oh, la becha. Vale. No, pues quién va a saber qué la
Pero-
significará.
El Daniel, por Dios, deja de golpear.
Es una metáfora.
Dani, ¿en serio?
No le dio valió bien.
Venga, se viene el segundo. No le di. Vamos, 20 segundos, chicos. ¡Qué golazo! No se viene. Ojo, así, se viene.
¿Qué van? ¿Por qué van?
Sáquese. ¡No!
Pero no,
¡Unos segundos!
Karim,
¡No!
ya valió.
¡No! Buenísima. Muy buena partida, chicos. Muy buena partida, la verdad. Dale, chicos, muy bienvenidos los nuevos. Romeo, buen jugador, ¿eh? Si la armas, brothers, aquí te esperamos todos los sábados. A esta hora de 11 a 1. Y de vez en cuando entre semana también.
El Fortnite FNS, la voy a ver.
Sí, ya iniciaron, ahí vamos para allá. Y de vez en cuando entre semana también jugamos en la noche Rocket League, ahí para que estés atento a mis redes
Bye,
sociales
chicos.
en Twitch
Va.
y en YouTube.
Sí,
En
o sea,
Twitch
Fortnite van a jugar a las 9.
Ajá, Fortnite es a las 9. Es a las 9
Ok.
todos los días, a las 9 de la
Ok,
noche.
sí.
GG's. Vámonos pues, chat, los dejo.
Bye.
Muchas gracias por estar jugando aquí conmigo.
Vamos,
Ya saben, yo soy su compa Morro Loco, que se la pasa haciendo directo todos los días. Vámonos a ver las finales de las FNCS. El Nico dice, no gané ni una. No importa, no sé por qué no me dejaba volar. Bueno, pues entonces ahí practícale, morrillo. Nos estamos viendo. Bye bye.
Disa, gracias por 18 meses, muchas gracias. Alexander, gracias por 100 bits. ¿A quién le vas? Le voy a Snacky King.
Now, for you fans that have followed us along the FNCS, this is pretty familiar, right, Vivid?
Yes, absolutely. As you can see here, we're going to be playing for placement as well as elimination. If you get into that threshold there, because outside of that 36 through 50 will not be getting any points in the placement category, but every single elimination, Taco, oh so important. We see it make the difference in a lot of these.
Nico Junior, gracias por 5 meses. Torosan, gracias por 22 meses.
Points to rack up because each of these players is fighting for their portion of the lion's share out of this $1 million prize pool. First place going to be bringing home $200,000 to start. Granted,
Vámonos, Ricky, vámonos, Ricky.
Walking away with something, but it's not just the literal prize money that's on the line here today for these duos.
That's right.
200,000 para el top 1, chat. Gato roña.
Absolutely stunning Swarovski trophy. That's right. Your duo that walks away as FNCS Invitational Champions will be forever have a little nice little trophy.
Oh my God.
Sit in their room and say, yeah, that happened. That was, in fact, us. Vivid, I'm so
Martin Loder por 10 meses, muchas gracias.
Are you excited? Are you as excited as I am right now?
It's hard to not bounce around.
It's really hard right now. I'm saying, you know, they stand still, Vivid. Listen, the crowd is going crazy. The competition hasn't even started yet, and yes, that trophy is oh so important. We have seen.
Nombre ni para la muela, ¿qué le pasó a su humildad, chat? $1,000 te compras una casita gamer.
Makes these players want it oh so more.
Roshi, gracias por 14 meses.
So exciting to think about the fact that by the end of this weekend, we are only going to get to see one duo lift up that beautiful Swarovski trophy.
So absolutely insane. You got a little taste of some of the players you got in the little introduction, but let me introduce you to a few more.
All right, so we're both always consistent, always placing in the top 10.
We're just gonna play the same game.
Honestly, like we're not really scared because we're the best players to touch the game.
I think we're due for a win.
We're due. We're literally due.
In total, we have 3 FNCS wins, and we're looking for our 4th.
We've won 2 FNCSs together.
I've won 2 FNCSs, both in trios.
I've won 6 FNCSs.
Ah, perro!
3 FNCSs.
To become an FNCS champion, I think 1, it takes a lot of grinding, a lot of viewing skill, and then 2, I think you're gonna have to pull a decent amount of.
Los drops están activos, chat. Los drops están activos.
You have to have talent. You can't just be hardworking.
Our 2 last grands, obviously.
El categoría R, gracias por 12 meses, viejo. Muchas gracias.
Trying to look at all of our games, look why we made this.
Los drops están activos, nomás tienen que ver el stream una hora, creo.
Consistent in FNCSs, but the last 2 have really been bad for me, so I'm here to not mess around and improve myself.
Qué rollo, Paul, aquí al 100, viejo.
More consistent as
El millón.
top 3s, top 2, maybe winning games, and then that's gonna help us get the extra points we need to get that top spot.
E tal, então eu acho que eu quero há muito tempo já ter essa experiência.
Rato habla chino, güey, qué coño.
Que tá o nível do Brasil comparado com os outros servidores.
Yeah, so there's, you know, loads of FNCS champions, including him, but our plan is just to eliminate the people who, you know, are landing on us and eventually win the game.
In past FNCSs, we played too aggressive, and we will try to be more passive in the presentation.
The fact that there's a lot of good players makes it a better lobby. It makes it much easier than rather if it was more random and scattered. So I feel like we have a good playing field here.
You can't be nervous. You also got to be focused on the game. Can't really pay attention too much to your surroundings or, you know, what else is going on.
I think one thing that's also important.
I mean, the God of War dynamic plays out in every parent-child relationship.
Does the costume really?
We'll get eliminated.
To the other duos, good luck, but we are 100% here to win the Invitational.
I've already won FNCS on 2 regions, so watch out for me because I'm going to win this one.
Oh! We're going to give it our best shot, and we're going to try to 12-0 the team contesting us.
Oh yeah, we are going to wipe them.
They are going down.
They're going down.
Confidence.
The confidence is unreal right now. You can just tell from those little tidbits that these players have never been more focused in their competitive careers than this moment. Everything is on the line. Now, we did get to see two members there, Queasy and Vino. I mean, heralds of EU, right? They're basically, Taco, they've been winning everything.
Queasy and Vino are entering this FNCS Invitational as an established threat. Despite the fact that they've both already achieved FNCS Championship titles in Chapter 3, their recent successes with the Elite Cup Weekly Finals in Europe and North America East is a primary example of
Why is
their
Vino
unwavering
always on the
work
back of
ethic.
someone? I
These guys
swear.
are absolute grinders, and not only that, but they had a first place finish in Week 4, first place finish in Week 6, and remind you, that was the NA East and European Weekly Finals that they managed to bring home for themselves. So the results speak for themselves here. When you are able to have such dominating performances so closely synced together to an event like this, it's no wonder that they are a clear fan favorite to bring it all home, because this is a World Championship caliber.
Miro.
Representing the home region here, NA East, representing Sentinels, representing Dignitas, in my opinion, the most titled duo here at the event. Let's talk about it. Bugha, solo World Cup champion. It's what he is known for. But because that is such a huge accomplishment, it almost always gets pushed on the rug that right now, in the past 5 FNCSs, he's gotten top 3 in every single one of them, with 3 of them being wins. But that's not all. Those 3 wins, back to back to back.
It's an absolutely disgusting stat line when you really think about it. And he's not the only one. You have to keep in mind his duo partner, Miro. He has also been the NA East individual leader for eliminations for 3 out of the last 6 FNCS finals. That statistic alone showcases the fact that I think this NA East duo is certainly going to pack a pretty vicious punch for the rest of these regions.
Well, that's right, and we have a very special treat for you fans here, and of course, viewers at home. Guess what? Kelly Link is standing by with Bugha and Miro.
Thank you so much, Zeke. Joining me right here, I got Miro and Bugha for a quick interview. Bugha, it's been 3 long years since your iconic World Cup win. What is it like to finally be back on stage in front of all of these people playing?
I'm super excited. I mean, it's super cool to be back in in-person events, and hope they bring more in the future, of course, but yeah, just hoping for the best, honestly.
Yeah, of course. And Miro, talking about the game, of course, you guys are not only uncontested, but it also seems like there's not too many teams around you on the south side. What are your plans to handle Storm Surge?
I mean, as of right now, we're uncontested. We'll see what happens. We're going to try not to leak too many strats, but I think we'll be okay.
I love it. The confidence coming in from these 2 guys right here. Make some noise for Bugha and Miro, and let's head on back to the desk.
That's right.
Yeah.
Fans, you guys can make some noise. That's okay. You want to be cheering on this duo, right? They got me. They got me. They're still waking up. It's all good. Now, we have to talk about more of the duos we're going to be seeing compete today. Is there another maybe duo that you have eyes on right now?
Well, that's the beautiful part about the FNCS Invitational, is that we do have that international representation. And Alex and Bailey are a must-mention from Oceania because they have had an absolutely phenomenal Chapter 3 performance so far. They've only been getting better with each season of Chapter 3. They started out with 3rd place in Season 1, then 2nd place Season 2. So guess what Season 1 was? That's right. They were the FNCS champions of the most recent season coming into this FNCS Invitational. And their dedication to the grind did not stop there either, because they have been absolutely dominating in Cash Cup performances as well. Alex even, I believe, tweeting at one point, 10 first place finishes in those Cash Cups alone. So the consistency is definitely there for this duo.
And the thing that I love is the confidence, right? Right here alone, Bailey's name in game, Bailey on height. Man, I wonder how he's going to be playing today, going for the higher gun. Honestly, listen, the great thing about being here in person is that I am actually able to go into the practice room, kind of stand behind some of these players. And last night I did just that with Alex and Bailey, and they won the scrim game that I was watching, and they just look so good. Alex's aim, holy moly.
We have to talk about another threat here in the competition. a 6-time FNCS champion coming from NA West. It's Epic Whale, and he's going to be paired up with Reet. If you've watched FNCS broadcasts, you know these guys are literal sharks.
Yeah, the 6X, the only one in the world, the individual player who has the most FNCS wins right there. It is none other than Epic Whale. But it doesn't just stop there. 3rd place at World Cup, and then of course winning the most recent international event as well. He is on an absolute tear right now, and he always looks so good. But the thing that I love about Epic Whale is that he is able to adapt to almost any situation. So much so that one season he even transitioned to controller. Of course, now he is back on that keyboard and mouse, but showing that he is so versatile is what is important to me.
My favorite part about this duo as well is that collectively they have 8 FNCS championship titles to their name, which actually ties them for first place with Booga and Miro of all duos. So this could be an excellent opportunity here for Epic Whale and Reed to establish once and for all who really has the most championship titles to their name.
You love to see it. Now, listen, fans in the audience, I need you guys to make some noise because Kelly is standing by right now with Epic Whale and Reet.
Thank you once again, Zeke, and you are right. I have Epic Whale and Reet joining me for another quick interview. Epic Whale, everyone knows that the 6X in your name stands for how many FNCS titles you currently hold. What has the preparation been like so that you turn that into 7X?
Yeah, just a lot of VOD reviewing with our coach and like watching our own games back, watching other players from other regions, and just always improving like from the Elite Cups and stuff.
Right, I love it. And Reet, you're known to be aggressive from time to time. Are we going to be seeing that classic Reet aggression today?
Yeah, we're going for 20 bombs every game.
Love it. That's what I want to see. I'm going to hold you to that 20 bomb, everyone. Let's head on back to the desk.
Oh boy. Reet, you can't just be saying that, man. I'm looking for a 20 bomb. We'll see how that all unfolds. Well, that's just a sneak peek at some of the competitors. Let's see how others feel about the competition.
Anything could happen, like it's a tight matchup. They're both really good teams.
A lot of people think they're one of NA's best teams. I think they're pretty down here, actually.
We're going to get outlet and go in and clean it up every game.
This is going to be crazy.
So at Cloudy Condos, we got Aqua, Reason, we have Mersash Malabuka, and then we have Tayson and Chapix. So obviously those 3 teams are like a lot of people's favorites to win it.
Cloudy Condos is pretty highly contested. I mean, it's edge map, you know, easy dead side rotates. The loot's pretty strong. Definitely Aqua or Reason are going to take at least one game, you know. They're high ground kings.
It really depends on like who is gonna like land on the one side alone and third way the other team.
We've heard some rumors that Merstash and Malibuka are contesting us. We don't know if it's true, but if it is, we're ready. Just come.
I think Malibuka and Mersash are kind of playing like the 3rd man out, and it's mainly Tayson and Chapix fighting.
Malibuka and Mersash are insane fighters. It's gonna be a very fun contest.
At Jonas, we have Pink and Anas versus Clicks and Dukes. I think there's not enough loot for 2 teams, so I think they're definitely going to fight each other.
I think Pink and Anas will come out on top most games.
If it comes down to like a just straight up 2v2 fight where they both have loot, then I think Clicks and like, because obviously Clicks and Dukes, they're definitely better
good fighters.
They're way better fighters than Pink.
I don't know about way better.
They're way better fighters than Pink.
Maybe a little better.
Although I think Pink is gonna come out on top, we're gonna see if Clicks is able to surprise us. With Joneses, if you want to have good loot, you really have to win it, so you have to be prepared to beat your opponent.
There's like 2 sides of Joneses.
They will split.
Yeah, they might split it.
I think if we fight Anas or Clicks, we're not gonna do good in Joneses. They can come to Breezy, that's fine, but not like Joneses, not good.
Then over at Groom Gables, we have Muzz and Looter conning Smite and Larson. And this fight's interesting. I think obviously since there's the hill and then there's also just down below, I don't think there's any world where these 2 teams fight unless it's like in the last game, as both of them trying to needing points, you know?
I don't know if the hill's enough loot.
The Muckletta Mountain's plenty of loot. People do that. They do that all the time.
I don't know, maybe.
If they want to come out on top and do well in the tournament, I think that they have to like not take the fight, but try to gain ground because it has really good, strong points around it.
I've played with Looter before, and he's crazy.
I honestly think it could be a 50-50. The POI is kind of just like one house.
Yeah, who knows? We'll see.
Dude, I'm gonna lose my mind. We're almost there. Now, we've had a chance to kind of talk about the outside looking in. Let's actually talk about the game itself.
Yeah.
We have to talk about some of these POIs, man, because it's looking like it's going to be messy.
There's going to be a lot of action going on in the early game, and here's where you can find most of them. Of course, Grim Gable is going to be tested. Tilted Towers, I don't know what's going on over there. A whole party. Looks like 5 duos are wanting to fight for that, but then Cloudy Condos, here we go. 3 duos landing there. Taco, all of them being EU.
And not just any EU duos. You're looking at Tayson and Chapix, Aqua and Reason, as well as Murstache and Malabuka. 3 European duos that could arguably walk away here, either champions of this FNCS Invitational or in the top 5 at the very least. But the fact that they're all contesting each other is the most incredible aspect here, Vivid, especially when you factor in that you've got Tayson and Chapix who love playing the high ground, going up against the original high ground king of EU with Aqua.
Yeah, I mean, listen, there's pretty much 2 ways that this kind of POA can work out, right? They can kind of split their loot and be happy with it, but that's not really advantageous, right? There's so much loot there that you want for yourself. Now let's talk about the other option, which actually happened in the Elite Cup just a week ago, where Malabuka and Murstache got 2nd place from this exact same situation. Basically what was going down was Tayson and Chapix were basically just straight up 50-50 in Aqua and Reason on the south side, and then Malabuka and Murstache were just running right in afterwards, cleaning up, and walked away again with that 2nd place in that Elite Cup.
And you know what's coming now, right? That's right, it's an interview, but this time we've got our in-game analyst, Mini Miner, standing by. Take it away.
Thank you so much, Zeke. Now, I couldn't be more excited to be alongside 2 titans of the European region. We've got Tayson and Malabuka alongside me here. This is exciting. Tayson, to kick things off, you are one of the online GOATs. You are considered as one of the best players online. How can you transfer that into this in-person experience today?
I think it's really important to get used to it for the next LAN events. Online is not as, LAN is not as comfortable as home, of course, but need to get used to it to prepare for next and do our best.
Of course. Now, Malabuka, you guys are known as one of the best fighters in the European region. Are you guys confident in fighting off spawn against the likes of Tayson and Chapix?
Yes, I think we have a very aggressive playstyle, and that's why it's very easy for us to eliminate other players, and I don't think off-spawn will be hard for us.
Of course, and it works as well. You guys have a 78% success rate off-spawn. Does that fill you with more confidence going into it, or do you think, like, this is going to be a tough fight?
I'm sure we will have 12 games. We will go out from our off-spawn, and we won't die even once.
That's good to hear. Now, Zeke, I want to hear more about the next head-to-head.
Man, these players are stone cold eliminators, baby. I am ready for all of this action. Let's talk about another duo, another head-to-head matchup we have to break down. I think for me, the key kind of takeaway and thing to consider is there's 7 regions being represented here on this invitational stage, right? So not only am I thinking, what's my meta at home? Wait, what's their meta at home? Oh, I have to fight against that? Good luck me.
Yeah, over at Green Gables, a little bit of a different situation than Cloudy Condos or Tilted Towers, given that it's just a head-to-head standoff between Smite, Larson, and Muzz with Looter. But I really am curious to see how this actually pans out, because we are getting a little bit of that international region spice, battle of the regions there with NA East and Oshi. But to be fair to Muzz, he has actually been in NA East along with Looter, competing in all of these Elite Cup weekly finals, trying to get as much experience as possible. I think it's going to be a really exciting matchup for them. And when you factor in that Muzz most recently, with the Chapter 3 Season 2 top 10 finish, came in 8th place, I believe, although at the time he was doing with Avery, not to mention his partner Looter while he was competing in Oceania, he still nearly closed out a match point trigger with a 518-point finish there in Season 2 as well for Chapter 3.
And then, of course, Muzz being the only player actually to win an FNCS on multiple regions. He did that on OCE and NA East as well. But that's not to talk down on Larson and Smite. They do so well in these all-spawn situations. They come up with such unique strategies. Throwback to Season 1 of Chapter 3, where even the likes of Cold and Scented were having trouble against them because of the strategies they were coming up with. So that's what I'm excited to look forward to today. What did they prepare for Muzz and Looter?
Caliber player is just absolutely insane. For just a moment, I do want to touch on that Tilted Tower situation. Why do we have 5 duos all landing at Tilted Towers?
But one of them is Fabs and Snacky. And one of my favorite parts about this is that throughout the entirety of Chapter 3, there were 36 finals games played, right?
Okay.
Fabs and Snacky only went 2 out of those 36 games without receiving any actual elims. So with 4 other duos there to contest at Tilted Towers, it's not just a prime opportunity for them to keep boosting that stat metric, but it also kind of indicates the fact that whether or not they're the ones walking away from Tilted Towers by the end of it all, they're taking somebody else with them.
So absolutely insane. Now, guess what? Another interview coming your way. Mini Miner, what you got?
I've got 2 incredible players right next to me. We've got Luta, we've got Smite, and oh boy, am I excited yet again, as always. Now, Luta, I'll kick things off with you. You've played on both OCE and NA East, right? How do the regions differ, and how are you going to use that experience today?
Well, there is a big difference, that's for sure. I definitely think OCE is obviously easier, and NA has a different skill set, but I made sure to come a month early so I could learn the lobbies as much as I could to do as good as I can over these next 2 days.
That's great to hear, man. Now, of course, Smite, you had your best FNCS performance in Chapter 3 Season 1. You had a 3rd, and in that season, you were uncontested. How are you going to approach the challenge of being contested today?
Well, when you're uncon, you obviously have the advantage of leaving with fully stacked loot, and you could fully focus on Surge. But when you're fighting a team off spawn, you have that advantage of also leaving with Storm Surge right off the bat. Yeah. So it's also an advantage at the same time.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
We'll see what happens.
2 ways to look at it. Now, just quickly, we'll ask you guys, what do you think the score's going to be off spawn? The all-important question.
Okay, realistically, I want a 12-0, nice and clean, but I don't think that's going to happen. That's unrealistic. I think it's going to be more like 8-4, 9-3, something like that.
Okay, Smite, just quickly.
I'm thinking a full 12-0 right here.
12-0. They both think they're going to win off spawn. Unbelievable. Best of luck to you both, though.
Thank you so much, Mini Miner. My goodness. We've had a chance to hear from some of the players, talk about the game. I want to just take a quick moment here to introduce you to our casters for the event. It is Monster, D-Face, and Jacob PR.
That's right. Thank you so much, Zeke. We do have the pleasure, the honor of calling all the action this weekend. And my gosh, the energy is already starting to, you really feel it.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane. And for myself, man, watching you cast the World Cup, now being here with you, this is a dream come true. And then getting to cast this global competition, insane.
Right. And that is what we have in store for us, of course. It's an amazing competition. What a special moment, not only for the competitors, but all of you who get to tune in here and watch this return to an in-person event. It couldn't be better. And already you see the content, like the real interview pieces where we get to read the players, read the room.
Yep.
There's a lot of contested, there's a lot of fights that are going to play out.
Yeah, and like I'm saying, and it said it kind of before earlier today, speaking in the back, that these players, they're really good friends. They like to sit in the same Discord, they talk, they play Fortnite together all the time. But when that battle bus starts, Monster, they're no longer friends. They're looking at each other like they're the enemy.
Yeah, definitely. You see the Pink and a Nas battle, or Pink versus Clicks,
Yeah.
you know, engagement that might be going down there as well. So that's us. We're going to be calling all types of action this weekend. Zeke, thanks for checking in with us.
Hey, thank you so much. My goodness, we are not that far from kicking off the competition. I just want to get your guys' kind of quick thoughts here as we prepare. What are expectations coming into just the first 6 games of the FNCS Invitational?
I straight up expect the crowd to be loud. We already heard when some of those interviewee names are called, the crowd was going crazy. When the action really starts to kick off, I want these players to fuel themselves with the energy from the crowd and really just take home a real solid, clean game number 1. But then also, you know, if it's not a good game number 1, use that in game number 2 as experience.
Exactly, and I think that this in-person event is a really important experience for a lot of the duos competing here today, but I'm super excited to see what happens with some of our international regions, because we do have so many duos that are actually going uncontested, and one that immediately comes to mind, Runa and Peppa, for example. They've got all of Lustrous Lagoon to themselves, and with that much available loot and resources, I wouldn't be surprised if they're able to kind of kick it up higher in the leaderboards than what some people might be expecting.
Yeah, that's right. And some of these duos, man, this is their first time in a setting like this, right? To have an amazing crowd like all of you here in person. So make sure you guys are just screaming your heads off. It is almost that time to start the show. So for now, let's go on over to Adam and Kelly.
Yes, Zeke, it is getting very close now. This is it. Audience, North Carolina, are you ready for this? I am so excited, Kelly. We're so close now to the beginning of the FNCS Invitational.
And I cannot wait for what we are about to show everyone. But guys, we know what you're here for. You're here for the games. You're here for the players. So in just 5 seconds, I'm going to need your help for the countdown, everyone. All right? Join me. 10, 9, 10.
welcome to FNCS Invitational 2022, live here in Raleigh, North Carolina! We are here live to the world for this beautiful live audience. My name is Adam Savage.
And I am Kelly Link. We will be your hosts over the next 2 days. And in those 2 days, you guys will witness 12 incredible games of Fortnite. 50 of the best duos around the world, representing 7 regions, will not just be duking it out for the $1 million prize pool. They won't just be fighting for the pride and prestige. They're going to be fighting for that trophy right there.
Can we get an ooh? Very good. I'm getting goosebumps here, Kelly. We've set the scene here for you guys. We've had a chance to talk to the broadcast team. We've seen you guys in the audience looking amazing. But now, are you ready to meet the stars of this show? It's time to meet the players!
Well, and read everyone, domination is the key word here. With multiple FNCS championships under their belt, the Grand Royale win, the World Cup experience, this team could take it all.
Give it up for Fabs and Snacky as 3-time FNCS champions of the NA West region. This duo is here, and they are not playing around.
Welcome to PSN and Quintos, coming in all the way from the Brazilian region with a total of 5 share of FNCS titles. They are now ready to prove to themselves and the world.
Put your hands together for Janice and Vadil, champions of Fortnite Champion Series Chapter 3, Season 3 Europe. They are the German powerhouses.
Queasy and Vino, folks, mixing it up with the FNCS champion of Chapter 3, Season 1 and Season 2. These guys are not to be messed around with. Watch out.
This is Rapid and Andalex, a duo forged specifically for this event. French powerhouse paired together with a Middle Eastern player. This one is going to be interesting.
Let's put your hands together for Basil and Jace, the champions of FNCS Chapter 3 Season 1 OCE. This is their moment to prove what they can do.
Stand up and get loud for Pink and Anaz from top-tier performances in several tournaments, including the latest third-party event. Now they are here in Raleigh to do it again.
If you say Poland, I say Cammy and Seti. The absolutely dominating duo. They are ready to compete for the FNCS Invitational title and become legends.
Let's hear it for Aqua and Reason, a duo World Cup teaming up with an iconic and highly competitive German juggernaut. This can only go well.
I cannot believe with just 10 players coming out, the Raleigh Convention Center are absolutely losing their minds. I hope you guys have enough in the tank until we got another 40 duos, so please don't pass out. That was just the first 10. What are thoughts?
We're stacked. We are stacked. I haven't even seen the rest of the We're stacked, right? Snacky and Fabs being one of those dominant duos being showcased right there in one of our first 10 to present. Listen, they're on a hot streak right now, coming out of the NA West region, back-to-back FNCS wins in Season 1 and Season 2 of this chapter, followed by a 3rd place as well.
But you can't forget about Pink and Anas either. This European powerhouse, I think, is going to be absolutely one to keep an eye out for. And I'm really excited to see them clash out over in Fort Jonesy with Clicks and Dukes.
And of course, he's got the pink hair too, so he's easy to recognize.
Easy to recognize. Now, that was just the 10. Let's welcome the next 10.
Give it up for iDrop and Mr. Savage, a true Fortnite OG teaming up with his highly competitive Norwegian teammate. This is not a drill, everyone. Let's go.
A team that needs no introduction, Clix and Duke, climbing their way up the ranks, 4th in the most recent NA East FNCS. They won the first Elite Cup of their region and then ready to take on the international stage.
This is cold and scented. These guys are like bread and butter, best together when placing in end games, finishing both 2nd and 5th in the most recent 2 FNCSs.
Make some noise for Runa and Peppo. The Japanese powerhouse are here to rock our world. With several FNCS titles in the bag, they might just make it happen again.
Put your hands together for Noah Riley and Bad Sniper. This newly formed duo for this event have both World Cup, Cash Cup, and FNCS experience under the belt. I mean, this can become dangerous.
Give it up for Threats and Alice. The combination of Asia and NA East is going to be super exciting to see as this newly formed duo will take on the competition.
The W-Keyers have arrived. Malabuka and Stash, one of the most aggressive duos of the EU region. They have always consistently come out with the most elims, and this weekend, it should be no different.
Put your hands together for Trulex and Chicho, long-standing duo featuring a former trio FNCS champion. They're ready to prove their worth to the world of Fortnite.
Let's welcome Bailey and Alex. 3rd, 2nd, 1st is how this duo has placed on the Oceania region, and now they must be absolutely ready for the big stage.
Give it up for Pablo Ingu and Swag. Now this is what you get when you mix raw talent with maturity and experience. This is a flaming hot duo.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, how are you doing out there? I'm joined right now by Clix and Duke. Make some noise! All right, Clix, my friends, out here in front of a live audience, you've experienced World Cup before. How great is you back here in front of all these amazing people?
You know, after 2 years, it's finally a pleasure to, be at another LAN event, seeing the crowd, different atmosphere, so hopefully we do good.
Absolutely, and Duke as well, I'm going to ask you, quite new to in-person events, but being here, this experience so far, being around the players, the audience, how are you feeling going into this?
I'm feeling great. It's like, the experience is insane. I'm loving it.
You're absolutely loving it. Are you guys loving it too? All right, Clix and Duke, thank you so much, guys. And let's over to Kelly and see who she's with.
From one Savage to another, I am joined by Mr. Savage and iDrop here. Now, iDrop, I know that you guys are going to be contested on drop. Are you planning on flat fighting or splitting?
100% fighting. I've had it Uncon for 12 months on the best region, so we're definitely fighting.
I love it. Mr. Savage, I heard that it's your birthday today.
Yes, it is.
Everyone, on 3, can we give Mr. Savage a big happy birthday? 1, 2, 3. All right, guys, good luck in game number 1, and let's head on to the next 10 players.
Please welcome Cloud and Refsguard. With the powerhouse performance in Chapter 3, Season 1, this consistent teammate he has picked up these last couple of chapters, they can take it all the way.
Let me give you Mixin and Otto, a fairly new performing duo coming out strong together. With a 7th place finish in the most recent EU FNCS, they could take it all the way.
And a big welcome to Pars and Rays. With a great start to Chapter 3, these guys have taken home both 2nd and 6th in 2 FNCSs this chapter. Now it is time to see them here at the Invitational.
Put your hands together for Belusi and Hijo. A lot of FNCS experience coming out of these guys, and that will be needed this weekend in order to take home the prize.
Vico and Marine, everyone, with a combination of a young and talented player and an even more experienced player side by side. This can only go well for this European duo.
On one hand, Baka, everyone. A duo showcasing their skills last season of the NA West region. With a second place finish in FNCS, they're here to take home the glory.
Let's hear it for Watson Robov, a very talented, promising, up-and-coming young duo. These guys have been performing so solid lately. Can they keep it going?
Bros and Rifty, one of the newer yet well-performing duos in this lobby. With his 6th place finish and his first FNCS, these guys came to take on a challenge.
And a big welcome to NA East, Larson and Smite, a well-performing Chapter 3 duo. They are here and ready to compete on the big stage amongst the best of the best.
Put your hands together for Falconer and Hellfire, NA West OG, teaming up with an aggressive style European player. Now it's time to find out if it pays off.
"30 duos." You can already tell this is gonna be some of the craziest Fortnite we have possibly ever seen. 7 regions being represented on this stage right now. Clown and Refsguard, the first duo to walk out though. I mean, some more of the more notable players in EU.
They're definitely a fun duo to follow along with. Although it's only their 3rd FNCS actually competing together, I think that it's interesting to note that they both, as individuals respectively, had top 10 finishes in past FNCS finals, so they definitely have what it takes to place high up in the leaderboards. But what I want to see them do as a duo, more specifically, is kind of take that to the next level. You've made top 10 before, but let's see you actually win it all.
Whew, there you go, win it all. Tall task, especially seeing these 30 duos that have walked out already.
That's right, man. Well, Vivid, guess what? We got another 10 for you. So, Raleigh, make some noise! Put your hands together for Peterbot and Jamper. The individual skill is so high in this duo, and despite being new as a duo, they're boasting FNCS and Cash Cup title wins.
Make some noise for Pamstu and Fabs, the French-Canadian duo with a tight bond. Back from Grand Royale and the most recent NA East FNCS as 3rd, they are here to take it all.
KBR and Z, folks, the regional FNCS champions of Brazil Chapter 3 Season 2, and now they are here and ready to compete on the international stage.
Let's give a warm welcome to Bevy and Vortexer, the duo fresh out of the lobby. With only one FNCS together as teammates, they're now ready to give it their all here in Raleigh.
And a big welcome to Retake and Novice, the most recent FNCS champions of Chapter 3 Season 3 as well. They are here now ready for the FNCS Invitational.
Give it up for Scram and Chimp, combining the powers of EU and NA East. These guys have great potential in front of them. They could go all the way.
Put your hands together for Zagu and Marine, the most recent FNCS champions of Asia. They have put their mark on their region, and now they are ready to defend the title as champions.
A huge welcome to Ju and Yusri. Great potential in this duo here, and fairly recently teaming up together. Their journey begins now, and what a journey it's gonna be.
This is Z, Andy, and Joe FN, everybody. Several FNCS final performances, and most recently 4th in EU's FNCS. Now, they are ready to take home the big prize.
It's Cool and Yumi with a stunning performance winning the NA West Chapter 3 Season 3 FNCS. We cannot count these guys out, and will they do it here as well?
40 players down, 10 more to go here. But before we can get to that 10, I have a special interview with Swearin. And Swearin, just being here in front of all these people with this big, beautiful stage, what are you feeling?
I feel really great. Like, this is so cool. I mean, Raleigh showed up, Fortnite community showed up, players showed up, like everyone's excited. I don't know, I'm hyped for this. Like, it's so awesome.
I'm super hyped as well, and I know that you recently ran a tournament where it was just all Goo Guns. Obviously, thankfully, we're not going to be seeing any Goo Guns today, but what do you hope to see?
Okay, real quick, I didn't run that. That was Beach Cobbler. I played in it, did really bad. I'm really excited to see people just like push for high ground and like just do like really exciting plays and stuff. I'm excited to see people like 1v2 and clutch up and then just like all those classic like Fortnite LAN moments. I'm excited for it. It's gonna be so awesome.
I cannot wait as well, and I believe, everyone, that we have 10 more players to introduce. So let's head on over to Jacob and MDF.
This is King and Ed Lagana, telling you duo, but there are no new names here. From the World Cup all the way to the Invitational stage, these guys are the biggest threat to the lobby.
Please welcome Focus and Spy with progression throughout each and every FNCS with a third place finish in the most recent Middle Eastern FNCS. These guys are ready to compete.
It is Thomas HD and Tripburn, folks. 2 words, dangerous and dominating, as these two are extremely experienced and they must be ready to win this weekend here in North Carolina.
A huge welcome to Macwood and Kanata. Reunited has never felt so good. These guys are looking to pick up where they left off and take home the prize.
Let's hear it for Acorn and Edgy. Consistently great performances throughout their careers. They are here to continue that trend. NA East, show them some love.
Hen and Vortex, everyone. An incredible duo coming out hot with tons of experience and a few FNCS champions up to the belt, and they're looking to add one more.
Let's give a big welcome to Commandment and Avery, your Chapter 3, Season 3, NA East FNCS winners with one of the closest endgames we have ever seen in a finals. It's time.
A duo that needs no introduction. Tayson and Chapix combined 6 FNCS titles, countless Cash Cup wins, and now they're ready to take on the global competition.
Let's give it up for Maz and Looter, multi-regional FNCS winners, previous champions of OCE's FNCS as well. Listen, these guys have got it all.
And finally, let's hear it for Booba and Miro, our solo World Cup champion with his multiple FNCS winning duo partner. These guys are looking to cement their legacy.
Let's freaking go! Look at this insane roster of duos that will be competing on the FNCS Invitational stage. I'm gonna pass out. Vincent, I'm gonna pass out.
Please do not pass out, Zeke. Listen, 50 of the duos now set on stage, and one of them is standing out to me. And I know it's standing out to another part of the crowd right up there. King and Ed, making a big name for himself at World Cup, of course, being the most aggressive player there. He stole the hearts of all the fans, and I'm hoping that he kind of redoes that performance here at the Invitational.
And his flexibility as a player, I think, is only going to pair so nicely with Ed. Despite the fact this is their first time competing together for this FNCS Invitational, I think that it's awesome that he came in 5th at the solos for World Cup, but he also had a duos placement there as well. So it's a quick indicator that Brazil can definitely represent.
That's right. I just want to throw some stats at you guys at home. If maybe this hasn't quite set in, you don't understand how insane this is. 15 FNCSs, 105 FNCS events across 7 regions, 88 FNCS championship titles on that stage, 47 FNCS champions on that stage, 27 countries all represented on that stage. And guess what? We're ready to kick off the competition. Adam, let's do this.
Yes, indeed. Can we get a huge round of applause for Thomas HD and Trippin? Thomas, it's 10 top 10 FNCS finals for you. You must be feeling very confident coming into this competition.
Yeah, I'm really excited to play. It's gonna be a long time since like the last LAN event, and I can't wait to compete. Hopefully, a good placement.
Well, I'm sure it will be great. I mean, Trippin as well. This is your third FNCS finals together. Is it third time lucky for you, fellas?
Yeah, hope so. I'm excited to play, and yeah, I'm playing with Thomas, so can't go bad.
All right, give him a big round of applause, please, folks! Best of luck, fellas. But we also, whilst up here as well, must chat to the reigning NAE champions as well. Give it up for Commandment and Avery! Avery, my man. This is an incredible opportunity and experience. Obviously, playing in front of a live audience as well. How hyped are you guys as a duo right now?
Well, this is my first LAN. It's an honor, honestly, to be here. Like, it's just unbelievable.
Really, you guys are unbelievable! We've also got as well, to talk about obviously last season's win. 1 point separated you guys from first and second place, which is Booga and Miro. How are you going to try and retain that title this weekend? What do you have to do right?
We're just going to try to play our game, be consistent, and hopefully we can take it home.
Do you think they can take it home, folks? Yeah? They seem confident. Thank you very much, Commandment Avery. Back to you, Zeke.
Thank you so much. We are drawing ever closer to starting this competition, kicking off and jumping out of that battle bus. We have to highlight a few more duels for you. I wanted to start pretty easy here, right? Janice and Vidil. I mean, EU fans, you guys already know what these guys are capable of. And here's just a handful of stats. And you know, these stats don't look that crazy, Vivid.
Are you sure, Zeke? Because I don't think we're looking at the same stats if you don't think those look crazy. This is from the Elite Finals EU Week 6. Total point 310, 25 eliminated. That's just over the course of those 6 games, of course. And listen, if they're putting on performance like that from game to game, I can't wait to see what they can do at the Invitational.
And it's so exciting to finally get a chance to see them compete on that international space because we are looking as well at the European FNCS champions from Chapter 3 Season 3. That's Giannis and Vidil. They are a dynamic duo. They don't want to mess around. Even at one of the intro videos that we saw, what was the first thing that Vidil said? You want to contest us? That's fine. 3 points for us.
The confidence. Listen, I love the confidence out of everybody. Also, you know, shout out to Trippin, right? Because like his interview went, yeah, I'm playing with Thomas. We're going to do great. Like it literally can't go bad. That is a lot of trust in your duo right there. Love that.
You love to see it. Talking about Vidil and Janice, they're currently uncontested at Greasy Grove. What does this mean for this duo? Having a POI uncontested that literally 6 other regions and even your own said, no, you can have that. That's fine.
Listen, this is how it goes, okay? You pretty much get to play all 12 games, right? But because you aren't contested plus 1, you aren't finding any of those early fights. So you have to go forcefully find some of these fights, and it can be very, very hard when the pressure's on, the nerves are kicking in, the audience is cheering on the stage. You know, you're thinking about it, man, do I really want to go take that fight? Do I really want to go get that Storm Surge? So they have to be confident in those routes, those strategies that they have set.
It's the audience aspect that I'm really curious to see how it impacts a lot of these duos, not just Giannis and Vidil, because it's one thing to play from the comfort of your home. It's another entirely to be in front of a live audience where when you got the cheers going behind you, you never know where that momentum might actually influence you to go next. I wouldn't be surprised for some of these players to really have to hone in on a lot of that mental discipline to not let themselves get distracted by any of the flashing lights or the noise. Just stick to what they know.
That's right. Let's talk about another duo, Clix and Duke. We actually got to hear from them via Adam. I mean, look, their crowd's already going absolutely ham. The Clix fans, rise up. What can we expect from this duo?
Listen, I'm excited, right? Because Clix has been improving from season to season, day to day as an IGL, teaming up with Duke, of course, who is very, very good mechanically. You know, I saw him in the practice room, always grinding the creative, always willing to take on pretty much anybody in that room who wanted to give a shot at seeing if they could take him down.
And it's impressive how well Clix has managed to simultaneously totter between this pro player aspect as well as the heavy side of content creation. I think that it is not very easy to maintain both of those lifestyles. And not only that, but when you have somebody as experienced as Duke right next to you, I can understand where the trust comes from this duo. And knowing that they're against Pinkett and Nas, potentially at Fort Jonesy, I do believe we heard them mentioning, though, a possibility of just splitting at the start.
Well, listen, I love the fact that you mentioned content, right? Because, listen, you know, he's used to that, right? He wants the reactions. He posts that content to get reactions. And here, what other better place to get reactions than from a live crowd? So maybe he'll just straight up embrace it, and it'll fuel him.
That's right. I have to highlight this duo, man. Your FNCS Asia champions who are competing on this stage. There they are, Zagu and Meram. Remember, these are FNCS champions. They literally just won the FNCS that passed. And now we will see them compete. When we look at the stats, man, I'm pretty worried for everybody else.
Listen, we were just talking about, you know, Vadil and Janice, who coming into this event are a lot of people's favorites, right? But right there, they had 310 points in one of those Elite Cups. Right there, I saw them have 344. There's a little bit of competition going on there. And as you can see from the camera shot, I love it, the preparation. They literally have printed out sheets of spots on the map, things that can help them out through this competition, anything to give them the edge.
And from the moment that we saw just how much energy they were actually bringing with them on their initial walkout, to the point of them sitting down here now, their faces do not indicate any sort of nervousness. They could very well be a big part of the bamboozlement to take place here with the international flavor.
I mean, they're up against Kamaman and Avery, right? I feel like this could go really well for one of these duels. It could be really messy. I mean, what do you think, Vivid?
Over at the Rave Cave. Listen, I think, you know, ultimately, Kamaman and Avery are going to be comfortable over there, right? They did win an FNCS from this POI, and of course, you know, Zygu is landing on the outskirts of that. So I don't even know if they're going to take any of those early fights. But again, as the game develops, if they start to struggle on Storm Surge in the later parts of the game, they might want to start taking that early fight.
But there is usually enough space surrounding Rave Cave for duos to not necessarily have to look for those early engagements if they don't want to. And you also have to keep in mind that they're not the only ones that are going to be landing there. There's also going to be Thomas HD and Tripper. That is a notorious favorite spot for them to go, is that south side of the Rave Cave. So curious to see where exactly these zones wind up actually taking these players and how their encounters might actually shape up.
That's right. There is a duo here that is quite terrifying. You know, out of Brazil, not a big deal. The fans of them are up here in the audience. It's King and Ed. I mean, the crazy thing is, King is one of the most winningest player. I mean, the crowd's already going crazy. There it is. One of the most winningest, one of the single-handedly craziest mechanical players you will ever see in your life. But when you pair it up with just stopping power, which he also has by himself, he is a one-man army.
Yeah. Listen, of course, King representing FaZe, and shout out and congratulations to Ed. Recently, just days before the event, signing the Team Liquid. Amazing opportunity there. You can see him drip out in the jersey, showing it off here at the Invitational. And what I love most about this is that, you know, again, we're here in person, right? So we can go into the practice room, we can kind of see what's going on. King and Ed, 2v2 matches, almost day and night, in and out. And listen, they were dominating players from every single region.
But the sheer presence that you have as an international player, and I'm speaking about King here, because the fact that he actually has audience members with signs of his name at an NA-based venue, that alone speaks volumes for the kind of impact that he has had on the Fortnite scene.
These guys are uncontested. We already know what this means for everybody else. It means they're going to get a free pass into the mid-game. If they are allowed this opportunity, what the heck is everybody else going to look to do to try and stop them?
Nothing. 12 games of pure aggression from King, and that's what it means. Just straight up, nothing else.
And also, just a really quick note there about Ed. He has been steadily improving with each of his performances throughout the entirety of Chapter 3. So if the momentum kind of keeps going in that direction, again, I don't think that international gameplay is going to disappoint by any means. These guys are amped up. They are ready to showcase their representation for their regions.
That's right. We want to come on over back to NA. We got to talk about Fams and Snacky, an iconic duo, to say the least.
They're pretty good.
Yeah, they're pretty good. That's pretty right.
Only, you know, 2 FNCS wins just this chapter, followed by a 3rd place, all that, you know, and the aggression from Tilted Towers. I can tell you right now, watching some of the Elite Cup games, they do not like to leave Tilted Towers without at least trying to find a fight. And I think that's going to play into the part, right? Some of the other players laying at Tilted Towers might not be expecting it. Maybe they came into this like, we're going to split it. No, I'm pretty sure they're going to be aggressive.
And we've already touched on a little bit with this duo earlier today, but they are, in fact, certified point getters, because on top of that stat that I gave you guys earlier, we're out of 36 FNCS Finals games for Chapter 3. They only went 2 without elims. Well, guess what else? They didn't go a single game in Chapter 3 FNCS Finals without scoring points of any capacity throughout every single round. That is insane.
Just a stat line, right? I mean, this stage is going to, it's legitimately some of the best players from all representing 7 regions from all around the world. It's absolutely ridiculous. I wanted to really quickly touch, I know both of you guys have come from competitive player backgrounds. You know what this feels like, to be on a stage like this, to be in front of a crowd like this. What are some of these players feeling right now?
Listen, some of them, they're looking locked in, right? They're looking like focused. They're not even thinking about the crowd. They don't even see the crowd beyond the monitors right now, which is really, really good for some of them. But I'm telling you, some of them are probably just really good at hiding the nerves, because being at these events, it's a different atmosphere. We talked about it time and time again. It is not the same as playing in your room at all. You will have all these lights. Maybe the desk is a little bit of a height difference. The chair is a little bit different than what you're used to, and it all plays into part, how well you're going to do. I remember as a player myself feeling a little bit uncomfortable on the stage, not because of the crowd, not because of the lights, but simply because of, slight changes in how I was used to sitting.
It's just not your home setup, and that's going to be naturally difficult for any player to overcome, no matter how much in-person or LAN experience they might actually have underneath their belt. But one thing that I always find a little bit fun, talking with some of the players, even yesterday and in the player lounge, it's asking them what are their kind of like little tips and tricks. I want to know how many of them like taking their shoes off, for example, because it's just that it adds that extra little safety net of just, hey, I feel more like I'm at my in-home environment.
Yeah, 100%. And this is all I know it sounds like, take your shoes off. That's like a joke right now. This is legitimately, man, when a player is comfortable, they will perform better. It's proven. Why don't we hang out with, we got with Tokata, Mini Minor. Are you guys in the player area?
We are indeed, Zeke. Now, some of these players might have their shoes off, but we've got our thinking hats on about this day today at Tokata. I mean, we've got 2 days of Fortnite action. I'm excited. We're going to be breaking everything down tomorrow and today, of course, but how excited are you?
Look, I'm incredibly excited, right? There's so many storylines that have yet to be built, right? We have Malibuka, Merstash going against European GOATs, Titans, right? Tayson and Chapix down in the cloudy condos, and even with the third duo there, Aqua Reason, with a possible third party. I'm excited to see that engagement. We even have Mr. Savage being contested up north, closer to Logjam, and then down at the Synapse Station, Joe and Ziandi, which are no longer contested because now Baka and On1 have moved up north to Mr. Savage and his duo's drop spot. I mean, there's a lot of action to unfold. Mini, I'm excited.
I'm super excited as well, but things can change, of course. We know how these drops are maybe going to form. We see some people moving around and changing up their idea of how they're going to play this. So be on the lookout for some changes. Be on the lookout for some of these players and teams that are thinking, actually, you know what, let's switch things up. Let's go for plan B, plan C, plan D, plan Z, maybe. Who knows?
That's what I love about Fortnite, right? You never know what's actually going to happen, right? We might be able to see the drop map, see what these duos have planned ahead of time, but who knows? Maybe they have a not so great game 1 and then they have to change things up, or maybe even after halftime, right? 3 games down, you're like, okay, we're not doing too good. We got to change something up. But I'm excited to see who's going to be able to show that they've been practicing. They have been in the player lounge going against each other, even in creative, doing 1v1s, 2v2s. And I mean, there's so much to see. I really just can't wait.
So much to see, so much to do, and I can feel the energy in the arena right now. But Zeke, please take it away. We're too hyped.
Bro, I'm right there with you, man. I just cannot wait to see all of the action unfold before our very eyes. We're almost there. Just a couple little things before we start the battle bus on its journey. I wanted to highlight another duo, Cammy and Seti, right? For you longtime EU fans as well, you know these guys recently just won a DreamHack. They've literally came in 1st and 2nd place in a solos competition. They were the best 2 players at the tournament.
And the thing that I love about Cammy and Seti is that individually, they kind of remind me of myself, right? That really slow, methodical game play style. They're not going to go for anything too flashy, anything too risky. They're just going to play their game out and play that top 10, top 5 consistent every single game, because they are laying at that mid-map spot uncontested.
Yeah, the infamous Cammy split, as everybody in EU and just about the world has basically come to know. Exactly, but I am curious to see how their surge management actually unfolds throughout the entirety of Chapter 3. I don't think that they really had too many issues with it, but it is important to note that for this duo specifically, they don't really like fighting early. And, well, fortunately, having an uncontested drop spot can definitely feed into that. So naturally, you want to wonder where their points are going to come from or where their surge management is going to come from. And I think that that is something that they're largely just going to have to control throughout their mid-game.
Yeah, and they also have to be very, very careful when they're landing there in the center of the map. There are a lot of teams landing around them, especially, you know, we think about Tilted Towers right to the left of kind of where they're landing. And then also center map, you know, Cold and Sentinel are expected to be contested there at that loot lake kind of area. So if any of those teams kind of want to disengage from some of those early spawn fight situations, they could easily run over to the split that Cammy and Seti are looking to take and maybe gather up some loot themselves, which could force a fight. And that's really disadvantageous for Cammy and Seti because they're going to be split, right? They're at these split drops, so they're usually off on their own.
And I think what you're getting at is adaptability, right? These duels being able to moment say, we had a game plan, we did not find the chest, we did not find the thing, we got tagged, someone has pushed on our like location, we need to change up something. What does that look like, man, right? Like, if this was EU FNCS, I'm like, oh yeah, no problem, I got all the notes for you, but it's NA East, it's NA West, it's Asia, BR, OCE, you know, there's so many other regions that you have to kind of be accounting for. And not only their own meta, it's that duo, right? Like, oh, I know they're from BR and they do this, oh great.
I mean, listen, you're bringing up a great point there, right? Like, how? You don't have many notes on a lot of these teams because they're just around for the entire world, right? And that's why international events are held at such a high praise because they're just straight up hard. The competition from all around the world, it's harder to play against people that you don't normally play against.
And the competitive lobby metas that you'll often see break out throughout the course of each of these 12 games in this weekend, I think that that is going to be a really crucial aspect for some of these teams to hone in on. We know that these players have been cramming VOD review leading up to today. We know that they're going to be doing plenty more of it after these 6 games are even played tonight. But as far as Cammy and Seti are concerned, just touching back on them, I like the fact that you brought up the early game engagements because honestly, their all-time record, by the way, first 3 zones, they have a less than 5% of elim scoring throughout those first 3 zones. So they don't like the early game engagements.
That is absolutely crazy indeed. You know, a duo I feel like could be a dark horse in the competition that I really want to see kind of win it all. It's Acorn and Edgy. Edgy over in NA has come 2nd place. So close so many times. Paired up with Acorn. Look, we know this duo is absolutely incredible. They are some of the toppest caliber duo that NA has to offer. But Edgy just hasn't been able to grasp that #1 spot. And what I feel like for me to come out of this event and say, I'll walk away with the Swarovski trophy, baby, that'd be pretty sweet.
Look at Edgy waving. What's up, Edgy? Listen, Edgy loves it, man. You know, we're laughing at him getting, you know, 2nd place 4 times. He himself, you know, laughs about it. Look at it. I wonder where he's landing.
Quick notes.
He has the picture of himself there. We've seen it a couple of times now. Tilted Towers. And look, they were being real confident coming into this event. Unfortunately, they are contested by a plethora of other teams over at Tilted Towers. I really think that if they were uncontested, they could probably run away with this event. We'll have to see what happens. I still think it's possible. I think it's a little bit less likely, but I was watching Acorn, you know, yesterday, last night, even into the later night, 10, 11 o'clock. He was still VOD reviewing all the way up until then, so I'd love to see the practice coming out of this duo.
But it's the fact that there's 5 duos at Tilted Towers, and literally none of them are willing to budge from this spawn. They all want their piece of the pie here at Tilted Towers, and whether or not this engagement could end up being worthwhile for the duo that even walks away, because when you think about it, Vivid, there might have to be a ton of resources expended.
We cannot forget, here they are, Queasy Vino. We talked about them at the beginning of the show, and like a circle, we find ourselves back at the beginning. I mean, what more could we possibly say about this duo? They've basically been winning everything as of late. Queasy is looking in absolute top form. Vino has been crushing it. He's ready to go.
You want to know something? So I used to be a professional player. Now I'm an analyst, right? Both are very heavy when it comes to the VOD reviews. I pretty much have just done it for the past 5 years. Very intense. I love it. It's awesome. I have never watched a VOD review and been like, wow, I am impressed on an individual level. Because I've been at the top before, right? You know what I mean? I've seen pretty much everything that these players can do.
You're still first in our hearts, Vivian.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Vino, I VOD reviewed him for this event. This is an international event. I'm typically on the NAE side of things, but let me dabble in EU so that way I'm prepared for this event. I'm watching Vino. Individually, like I said, I've never been impressed. I was impressed. He seems so clean. Every single action that he does, it seems like it has a purpose. And I genuinely have never seen that out of an individual player, ever.
There's a reason why he's often regarded as one of the best fraggers in Fortnite competitive history right now. And not only that, but he's got a perfect IGL to match that. Queasy is notorious for being an absolute genius for his IGLing. And I think something that I love about Queasy is that his stats also speak for themselves, because you don't go the past 7 seasons getting a victory royale dating all the way back to Chapter 2, Season 6 without being a consistent IGLer. He just knows how to stay cool, calm, and collected in every single competitive environment.
And I love the fact that you're bringing up the IGLing aspect, right? A lot of these dudes are going to be making a lot of calls. Queasy, what he is known for is his very clean, high ground takes. It just always seems so methodical and flawless whenever he does it. So the pairing is very, very well. But then that's not even like one of the most exciting parts is they always seem to find those mid-game dead side rotations that work out so well that keep them alive into the end game very consistently.
And it's kind of like having a silver bullet, right? You have Vino there ready to go. If you're Queasy, you're just thinking, okay, I need to go accomplish this goal. I'm going to point my silver bullet in a direction. There's an enemy over there I don't like. Vino, why don't you just go 1v2 them for us and then bring their loot and ammo back and builds, and then I'm going to be up on high ground, okay? I'll see you in 30 seconds. So that's not a joke.
I'm laughing because, 1v2s, right? They seem impossible, especially on the international stage. But no, like, literally, Vino, he just does it so often, and I cannot wait to get into the game.
That's right. Guess what? Ladies and gentlemen, Fortnite fans, we're ready. The battle bus is all ready. The players are on board. So let's do this. It's game number 1. Here we go. It is time. It's one just big moment away from really kicking it off. All that preparation, we're going to have to put it into it. The battle bus is ready. Let's go, Jacob.
It is time. Game number 1 of the FNCS Invitational starts right now. 27 different countries are represented. 88 different champions. Overall, this is just amazing.
And just look at the concentration on the players' faces as they start to populate onto this world. Put yourself into their shoes. Imagine the pressure as you are jumping off the battle bus here. We already know what's in store for us. It's going to be an incredible amount of action, as we know there are so many contested drop spots.
Yeah, and already looking at the drop path, one of the biggest ones is going to be over towards Rave Cave, where you have Commandment and Avery, the most recent NA East FNCS champions. They're a little contested. Not going to be a hot fight right out of the gates against Thomas, HD, and Trippin, because right now they're just getting that early game done and ready.
That's right. And it is going to be so important for everyone who is contested to take and walk in the path of caution. You cannot allow yourself to make any risk. Up at Chrome Jam Junction, we already know there's several players on top of each other. Tilted Towers, remember, 5 duos contesting this area, some of which are the most notable of Bad Sniper, Noah Riley, Acorn, Edgy, Babs, and Snacky just to the south.
That's such a stacked stage. You might as well call that the Legends Land, let me tell you. But see, Snacky over on the side, you're talking about Bad Sniper as well, but one of our hottest drops with EU's biggest names, Cloudy, Kondo, Feet haven't even touched the ground yet, but it does look like it's going to be Malibuka and Merstash on the ground first.
Malibuka, of course, representing for Russia, Merstash for Latvia. We got Aqua here and Rezon, our high ground kings. One of the most respected set of duos right here. If they really cut loose, they make endgame, it's over. You're gonna see Aqua playing for that big high ground play. And look at how they are respecting the area. Everyone making sure they are solidifying their foundation right before they really decide to make a fight.
Yeah, but look at Malibuka's loot already. A green prime, a blue Evo Chrome burst. He's ready to pack a punch at a moment's notice. He's probably waiting for Merstash to probably give him the go-ahead, but another in a regional battle over towards Grim Gables.
Now what's crazy about this, I got to sit down with Muzz and Looter. They are feeling feeling exceptionally confident in beating Larson and Smite, but you have to put yourself into this kind of position right now. There's pressure all around you. To me, it's looking like Larson and Smite have the advantage right now. Just take a look at the focus right here, right? This little bit of high ground, they have them almost trapped down below.
Yeah, and the thing is, right now, Larson is a little bit separated from Smite. That is a little bit towards low ground. You know as well as I do, all it takes is 1 second of separation to kind of do one of these teams in, as Marine and Vico over here towards Reality Tree. Another contested drop. But you can see this is only game number 1. Nobody wants to put it all on the line just yet, but I might have spoke too soon. Larson would get it, taking down a ton of damage on the Muzz. Looter trying to back him up, and it looks like they got the first elimination of FNCS.
Down goes Larson, and the quick finish for Looter. OCE gets to claim the first on the show today. It's Smite now, left with the pressure of the world on his shoulders. Can he escape these OCE players? It doesn't look very possible. We all know from the past experience that Looter and Muzz are some of the fastest and deadliest when it comes down to these engagements, and they're hip to hip right now.
Yeah, Smite right now, he has to figure out a way to just really stay alive, and it looks like Muzz and Looter, they're trying to decide right now, Monster, do you continue to try to fight against Smite as he's looking to try to get that reboot card onto Larson as the third-party shots are beginning to come in from the distance. And that's the thing, you know as well as I do, any drop that's contested and you have that early game fight, and especially it builds just like this, there are so many teams that are gonna look at you to get their surge.
Now in the past, Smite has been known to walk away with at least 1 elim in every single major game. This time might actually break his streak that he's been on, but Muzz and Looter, take a look at the respect here to play cautious, take their time, and not overcommit even in the 2v1. That's the respect, but let's get to the real battle. Cloudy Condo, Tayson, Chapix taking on this big duo toe-to-toe. It's Mustache and Malabuka, who have a 73%, 78% win ratio when contested. The odds are not looking good. The third party in the distance, Aqua's up on high ground. They're positioning for the fight.
Yeah, Breeze on A and Aqua, they have that high ground, just put damage onto 2 different players. They're like eating at a buffet right now when it comes to Storm Surge, but in the feed, Mr. Savage is down on one in Baka from NA West. They're trying to take control of that POI, but all 3 teams are here. But you got to keep notice, while all the action is going down between Malabuka and Mustache, you see Aqua and Reason just trying to keep their distance.
Crazy how they fight back. They are not just allowing this team to third party them. Reason gets super hurt there, and it looks like the battles in the distance get to conclude. But here and now this fight rages on here. Reason all of a sudden has such an advantageous position, right? And lands all those shots. The entire team have turned.
Yeah, and it does look like the NA West, Baka and On1 have solidified Chrome Jam Junction to theirself. Down goes Mr. Savage, down goes iDrop. NA West, make some noise.
That's right, and now for Jace and Basil, another team that was contested in the early kind of situation, but it seems like they've won themselves some space. Yep. They're vibing out. Look at the Storm Surge tags here as they start to fight back the teams that are out on the outer edges here. What a great spot to be, especially with the zone housed right on top of them. They have so much going for them now that they don't have to worry about that. Whoa, a big fight though. On1 gets back. That's the replay there. I love that we got to catch that.
And you can see the strategy coming out from On1 and Baka. They switched up their drop spots this weekend. It's not like they've been practicing there all season long. They're just adapting on the fly. As you see Booga, Mira, we already talked about that uncontested drop spot of Chonkers Speedway. The zone is kind of above them, and they're one of those teams that just waste no time trying to figure out what that game plan is. They're gonna try to get to zone and then worry about surge when all those other teams that are south and east of them have to go past them.
And the Middle Eastern, one of the few representatives of the Middle East community here, and Andalus, what a monumental task to step up here and for the first time ever compete with a duo. So we love to see what we have going on here. So much representation of all of our spaces. You know what I saw, which was in the feed as well? Japan versus Brazil. Looks like Peppo found one too. So little exchanges happening everywhere. As now we jump over to Vino and Queasy, some of the best at Shiny Sound.
Yep, you see them just going for their own surge. This is going to be one of the wildest lobbies we've ever seen. If you're down on surge at any point in the game, you're forced to play catch up to all these elite teams who know exactly how to handle their own surge if they are above. But one of the big teams, one of the favorites to possibly take the competition overall, Janice and Fadil, Greasy Grove, uncontested, and everybody knows what they can do uncontested.
Janice is the only European player to have ever picked up and FNCS in solos, trios, and duos. 3 different game modes, such a decorated team that we have together. That's our German powerhouses. As we jump over to Anas and Pink, what a team right now. Remember, they were contesting Clicks and Duke down at the Joneses. It seems like things might have slowed down for them. They've been a bit more passive. There's a single elim, though, right inside there, too, so that's a pickup.
Yeah, and for a lot of these teams today, this is just game number 1. The nerves right now, they're just feeling each other out, trying to figure out how everybody's playing, and then they're going to adapt as soon as this one gets at least towards the mid game, probably towards the end game. It's going to get super exciting very, very quick as Merstash, Malabuka, that fight done and over with. They know it's about the resource, about matting up and setting yourself up for later on.
And I love that you say that because what they have that the other teams don't, tons of accessibility to the metal. Yep. You see how their metal resources really starting to cap out there. Tayson and Chapix, though, they're going to give up the drop. They say, hey, enough is enough. We've, kind of gotten our hands dirty. Let's go and move out. And you notice that they also managed to take home the metal as well. Everything else, man, you can find it on your way out, right? It's the toughest resource to rebuild back is that metal when you are at the drop spot. So this is a team, they'll bounce back.
Yeah, and it's also one of the first materials that you use when really trying to defend yourself. As Zagu and Miram just kind of looting up the Greasy Grove, whatever Janice and Vidil left behind. And it's actually a lot of the teams that landed Rave Cave a little bit north that are trying to rotate towards this slower side of zone. And right now, everybody are just stuck in zone because nobody wants to bite off more than they can chew.
This is our current reigning champions of the Japanese region, representing for Japan of the Asia region here. Now we jump over to Ed and King. One of the most explosive duos. We talked about Ed's history, how much he's really risen to the challenge, improving season after season. Now paired up with King, they have such a fun history here. They have engaged against one another multiple times in FNCS in seasons past. Now they get to play together.
Yeah, kind of rotating all the way from north, Chrome Jam Junction. They find themselves a sweet spot, but a team that has so much experience together, but years ago, now reuniting for the Invitational, Macwood and Kanata. And let me tell you, in some of those practice games, Monster, that uncontested drop spot that Kanata and Macwood have proven to be fruitful. They got first place in scrims, and now they're here to try to replicate that on the biggest stage.
Only 2 duos have fallen, and now another steps into the position here to possibly take a fight, but no, Bevies and Vortex are know a little bit better. They're going to land right behind Chapix. They find Tayson out by himself. A great shot here, and now he steps up, but smarter to go ahead and defensively poise up here. No need to get too antsy.
Yeah, not just yet, at least. You can't really get too busy too early. There's so many players that right now, you see 95 left alive. When Storm Surge actually activates Monster, this is probably going to be one of the most scariest things I've seen in Fortnite in quite a while.
That is true, and Bevies and Vortexes are really considering peeking out. Now, one thing we spoke about with the professional players is that one thing you don't do is open those big boxes and peek for too long. If there's ever a time to do it, you can do it here in the early game kind of situation while you have some time. But while we have some time, let's just go ahead and catch up with Mini Miner.
Not quite there, Tokata, but close enough. I got you, Monster. We're going to be taking a look at North Shiny Sounds, where we have a fan-favorite duo, Queasy and Vino. I find it interesting how they were playing split up here. Queasy was on the low ground, taking shots from opposing duos, but Vino, up above on the balloon, was able to get free tags on the opposing duos that were looking at Queasy, and having this split mentality in the drop spot is crucial for getting those free tags and able to set yourself up for that late game.
An amazing breakdown there, Jacob.
Yeah, one thing that I didn't really mention it. Did you see the 18 splashes on him? Yeah. These guys are ready for that end game. If you have that much heals, that's going to allow you, if you are down on Surge, to kind of handle it. Fabs and Stacky, FNCS champions from NA West, hurting on Storm Surge right now, trying to get themselves back up. But it does look like the fight, maybe the dust have settled, and this is the aftermath that you see. Yeah, Fabs does have one elimination, 36 above the damage threshold. Even though right now they have a little bit of comfortability, that threat is still looming in the back of their minds.
That's right, and they rolled up. They took down a team there, and now they get to go ahead and reap the rewards. They needed those tags, but that's not going to be enough. There's a little bit more in front of them. Ooh. A team that's well below the Surge right now, our full Middle Eastern duo, Spy and Focus, are sitting here, and it's not looking too hot. 220 damage below. I had so much time to catch up with Spy. He is an incredible, and I mean incredible player, but this is one of those decisions that you have to make now.
No
Who do you pick
Riley.
to fight? There's no easy one. Now we have EU versus NA West. Noah Riley, Bad Sniper, Epic Whale, and Reed on the other side of the wall.
This one is going to get close because Reed, I already talked about, he loves to fight. Epic Whale loves to fight as well, but Epic Whale is also that IGL, that 6-time champion. He knows when and where to pick his battles in every single one of these situations. So he's probably talking to him right now, get the pre-edit ready, but he's 137 below. This is why they're not abandoning the fight. They have damage to do.
Epic Whale and Reed have around a 70+% win ratio when taking on these early game fights in these early zones. It's looking very good for them, but the Surge, no one can beat the Surge. That is going to be inevitable damage in the coming seconds. So this is why this fight's so important. Down comes the Chug Heal. They're just going to go in and sit there, try to get as much health as possible. Meanwhile, in the distance, Threats and Alice are starting to put shots in. So this is not a fight that's not, being interfered with. Reed's going to fall first. Epic Whale's by himself. Shots come in. Noah Riley wastes no time. They pounce in, and they're hunting now. Reed's on the run. Shots from the side. Who will steal away this elimination here? Someone has to get it in there. It is. They close things up and finish it off quickly, and just like that, EU comes out on top.
Oh my god, but the action is just all over. Basil, Jace, they're out as well. That's Pink and Anas who pick up 2 more. And I even saw moments ago that Booga went down. The elimination feed is just lighting up. Pars and Rays go down as well. This one is getting active very fast, but that's because of the Storm Surge. But this is something I feel like all of us preface just a little bit. Handling that Storm Surge is going to be so important throughout these 12 games.
Kanata and Macwood take down Booga and Miro in the feed. It is done. It is wraps. Meanwhile, Asia's champions are finding some too, but KBR and Z, representing for Brazil, are here, and they need more tags. They're just 8 above. Well played for them to go ahead and find a few to keep them in the game, but let's get on over to that fight that is inevitably gonna continue. Tayson versus Chapix.
And this is exactly what happens when you split it, though. They split that drop spot. They weren't able to get the early damage. Down goes Chapix. Tayson under pressure. HP getting dropped, and there he goes. Back to the lobby. But Dale and Janice do it again.
From teammates to enemies, Janice takes down Tayson in the zone. Just like that, it is over. Now, we jump on over to Onwon and Baka. 3 elims. NA West, one of the few hopes for NA West this weekend right here. Talk to me about how they managed to surge over Mr. Savage and iDrop, and now they're picking it up.
Just honestly talking to them before this as they were preparing, and when they finally made that decision to switch up their drop spot, they had a choice. Do you contest Hen and Vortex? Do you contest Joe and Z Andy? They said no. They want to take one of the biggest names in Europe. They want to go against Mr. Savage and iDrop, and already it's proving to be fruitful. Onwon coming from Mexico. This guy is a legend from NA West, and honestly, it's been just a few seasons and he's already making a name for himself.
That's right, and way to do it on the international stage now when it matters. Now we jump on over to Chicho and Trulix here. What a great spot to be in, my God. Yeah. Finding beautiful tags here, holding the team out on the side. Meanwhile, Vadil and Janice look like they have finally made it from outside the storm line. Tough spot to be in. You have a lot of water here, very little land terrain to work with, and take a look in the distance there. You see the stacking starting to happen. Meanwhile, on the other side, some of the NA East best, Edgy and Acorn. Now what's cool about this duo here is that Edgy and Acorn quite literally said, hey, the better the lobby skill-wise, the better I will perform. That is how much experience he's picked up in the past from practicing against the best of the best lobby.
And already, if you look at their loot right now, that 5-team contestation coming out of Tilted Towers, honestly, didn't do too much. 256 above the damage threshold as well. Shots continue to fire off onto Ju. He goes down. Elimination's going to be cleaned up to Acorn. They get 2 to their total. And his teammate, Yusri, goes down as well. That's going to be Vadil. No, Riley picking up some more eliminations as well.
What a quick way to finish that one off. And there's a problem here. We have Baka and Onwon sitting on the walls. If NA East champions are most recent of Avery and Commandment, you can see they've actually taken a lot of damage here. They were just below the Surge quite a bit ago. And yes, more damage is starting to come in. It's only a matter of time now for them. They will have to take a fight. That's no easy fight on the other side of the wall, but first tags there are going to go to the side of the NA Esports.
Yeah, Onward and Baka right now, they just need to play their game. They are down on Storm Surge in terms of commandment and Avery, 65 above, those traded shots. Actually, I wish Onward and Baka would have just stayed in the box because honestly, if they would have just waited a little bit longer, Storm Surge would have had these guys almost down and out and they could have easily cleaned those up. But right, they're just playing safe. They just want to go ahead and make it towards their end game because this is one of the teams. They finished second in the last FNCS of NA West. They know how to fight with the best of them.
This is what it's all about. We show up for big moments like this. Can you step up to the plate? We are just moments away from the game becoming extremely difficult. The zone is only getting tighter and tighter. And take a look at how many players have huge pressure, rapid and endless now. And they have Clicks and Duke sitting above them. Macwood and Kanata starting to look down as well. They're off to a hot start. That is one of the teams to look out for. Meanwhile, a single Elim already for Clicks on the other side. So they've survived the drop. A huge shot. Clicks finds a one. They're on to Andalect in the finish. Two. Clicks and Duke managed to get 2 more eliminations. Oh my gosh.
Hey, you got to give him credit though. He said it himself. He has that World Cup experience teamed with an FNCS champion in Duke. His first time in an in-person event, and he's already loving the environment. Even though he didn't take that off-spawn fight, it was so that he can make it toward this end game and continue to do things like that.
Alice and Threats, they're communicating with a translator between them. NA East and Japan playing with each other, but hold up. Vadil, Janice, this is a problem. One of our favorites. When you look online, you look at Twitter, you look at what everyone is putting together for a top 10 list. You expect this team to do so well in game 1 and already broken apart.
Yeah, Janice was down inside of the storm. Vadil really couldn't go and save him. He has no HP really to regain. Merstash and Malabuka, another one of those teams towards Cloudy Condos where nobody really fought it off spawn. They got some tags and left, 31 below. The pressure is on. They're so close to zone, but they can't necessarily travel to zone because they have to worry about Storm Surge that's actually doing a ton of damage.
31 below. Not looking good, Jacob. Tags are coming in. Clock is ticking. They do have heals. They can survive for a little bit more, but you hear the shots raging everywhere as the lobby turns online. Vadil fires back. He catches Macwood in the feed. That must have been incredible, and that's happening right above us. Meanwhile, turning the story around, Vadil is known as one of the greatest box fighters, literally made his name known for taking on fights and destroying players across Europe. Let's take a look at that one more time.
Yep, you see Vadil just kind of peeking through the cone, catching Macwood off guard. And honestly, it looked like Macwood was going to try to do the same to him, peeking through that cone. You better watch where you peek. Aseti and Cammy, another favorite to probably take the top spot here in this event. 306 above the damage threshold. They're still continuing to put that pressure on the lobby. That's exactly what you got to do when you make it to endgame, especially if you're a team that doesn't fight off spawn.
Becoming Legends, Cammy and Seti have 2 launch pads. They have material. They have heals. This just might be their game. But let's jump on over to Seeds. KBR. How's it going here? 132. They have Z-Handy and Joe have been on the other side of the wall. It's going to be a tough one. 23 duos remaining here. The surge is still active. And now as the timer hits 0 and the zone reveals itself, we're going to start entering into the first moving zone territory. These next 25 seconds are going to be some of the toughest they have ever had to deal with. Remember, for some on this stage, this is their first LAN, an in-person event that they have ever experienced here, and they get to play it out now.
And this is where you talked about some of the players that had rotation. It is going to be so important. You see where the zone pulls. There's different elevations that these players are going to have to traverse through. If you don't have any sort of rotation, you're going to have to figure out how to recycle it. Otherwise, you're going to be living a nightmare.
Fadil, he has a launch pad. He's going to play for it. High ground. The first ones to go is Vino and Queasy. This is where you expect them to be. They're up top where they are so comfortable. Now, can they hold it all the way? The launch pad comes down. They don't want to stay there and commit the map. They're going to go ahead and switch it up. Merstash on the low ground down to 40 HP, but he still has some movement to work with.
You can see him just peeking through the cone, gathering that information. He has a launch pad as well. He can easily try to find his way through, but there's so many players stacked all around him. They don't want to make it easy, but 28 above the damage threshold. He's not only looking for the perfect rotation, he's looking for some players to put some shots on, but a high ground goes over to Peppo.
Whoa, Asia on height now too. This is big. That's something you did not expect, but Vino and Queasy are now looking up, take it decide to go for it. They land on top of Asia, and it's all or nothing now. Vino fights for it. The wall gets edited. It's not quite his. It's a battle on all fronts here. Can they win it off? And he does just enough. Vino and Queasy have managed to fight back for high ground in the first game of the FNCS Invitation.
Yep, and there goes. I saw it in the feed. Vadil and Janice, their run came to an end. Vico picking up Anas and Mustache. Whoa. Two different players as Alice is trying to break through. 118 below the damage threshold. He knows he cannot stay in one place too long. Trying to reunite with Threats, but he goes down as well. Storm Surge really eating these guys alive. Alice has to do something, but the options are so thin. He doesn't know what to do. Finally finding one player, puts the shot on. Storm Surge still going wild. He's below, but that Siphon coming through just in the nick of time to keep him alive.
He is alive. He takes down the run, steps into the zone, and look at this. A huge pickup now. That's going to buy him more time. That could be the absolute difference. Meanwhile, Seti and Cammy playing their game. Pamstu and Fash still alive as well. High ground has Queasy and Vino. Logren has Chicho and Trulix playing and leading the front side of zone. There's not a player in sight. Clicks is still alive now, working his way through. He has lost his teammate. The full finish comes through. It might be all or nothing now. He still has so much left in the tank.
Yeah, but I'm not too worried about him because of him and Duke's high placement last FNCS was because of solo clutches from that man himself. But talk about solos. Joe gets one as Andy goes down. Shots coming in from the high ground. Pressure is there, but Joe's trying to find his way to the front side of zone, but it's a hard journey trying to find it. 12 HP, continuing to drop. Shots still coming in. He's going to find a moment of an oasis to try to stabilize and figure out what's the next play.
Cammy and Seti find their way to the high ground. Down goes Clicks to the hands of Cammy. That's a huge one. Hello, Vino. You have to turn and run. Cammy wants to hear nothing about that noise right there. Meanwhile, Seti's keeping eyes on the general area. Very solid. Chicho fighting his way, but no. An edit comes through. It's Zagu and Mareem, who's right above them there. Our FNCS champions of Asia are still here. Down goes Pamstu as well. What a huge elimination here.
The top 7 duos alive. 11 players total left in this game. One of them being Seti and Cammy towards the high ground. The analyst desk called it. These guys don't play too many early game fights. They wait for this end game and for every opportunity. But Acorn, he's trying to sneak some extra points. He has the med miss sitting in the zone. Vino doing the same, but he's almost all out of opportunity.
This is absolutely what you expect of the best players in the world coming together for this invitational here to have this opportunity to step up to the plate, represent for your region. This is what it's all about. Vino by himself just working his way, ratting his way through the build. Acorn is as well. There's a set of major points separating them. Vino looks to high ground. He says, I'm not going to allow you to just sit there and focus me. Trulex is meanwhile in the low, looking for something to do here, turning builds into Chrome. Remember, he can slip through any one of these now, becoming desperate.
He's just trying to reinforce the little bit of the builds that are around him so nobody can quickly edit through and try to pick that shot from Miram and Zagu. They don't have that high ground, but they have that mid layer trying to find that comfortability. Vino, only 2 HP, no med miss left. He's going to have to try to find a Siphon here, but no, he gets dropped. Acorn finds another one from the outside of zone.
7 elims for Mareem and Zagu, representing for Asia here, looking great. Meanwhile, Yumi and Cool are getting one step closer now to taking this fight. A huge shot out to Mareem. He's going to feel that one as he plays defensively, but Zagu is here to back him up. They're going hand in hand. The fight breaks out. They clap back. Down.
Oh my gosh!
Cool steps up to the plate. We are now down to 3 duos in the end game, 2 solos and a duo up top.
Carrying that momentum from last season's FNCS, but he has so much more work to do. Seti and Cammy, the only duo left in the game, and Acorn staying alive, still 4 eliminations on the back of Cool, trying to find his way through. But this, like I said, there's only 1 duo team, and they have the high ground and the recipe for success.
You cannot write a better story for becoming legends. Seti is fighting back. Cammy is fighting back. They're looking to get inside. There goes the elim they were looking for. Just 1 player separates them, but Acorn will not survive. And Seti and Cammy take game number 1.
Poland is the first country to to take home a victory royale on the FNCS Invitational stage. These guys have came to play through and through.
What a fairy tale beginning for these absolute veterans, GOATs, some of the hardest workers we have ever seen enter into the ecosystem, becoming legends. Seti and Cammy must be absolutely proud. Acorn and Edgy, they were just incredible. Wait for Acorn to truly step up to the table there and clutch this one out. And he said it, put me in the best lobbies, I will put up the numbers.
Yeah, and for him, that's a little bit of a success, even though he didn't get the victory royale. Staying alive as long as he did, getting extra eliminations, and getting that top placement, that is just insane. But let's go ahead and throw it over to an interview with the winners.
Okay for you guys? Yeah. I am with our Game 1 winners. Give it up for Cammy and Seti! I must ask, what, Dzień dobry, first and foremost. Dzień dobry. Obviously, Game 1 winners, how was that being out there and winning in front of this amazing crowd?
It's amazing. I love the atmosphere here. It's really nice having a crowd again.
Excellent. And also, obviously, high ground reigns supreme. Once you had the high ground there, able to maintain, do you think that was the difference maker? You felt comfortable being above the rest of the teams?
Like, we knew that high team doesn't have much, so we just took it.
You took it. Going into the next game, much of the same? Do you have to constantly change strategy, or did it feel good playing against the rest of the world?
It feels good. It feels pretty easy. I'm not like denying the competition, but it feels really nice playing here. And yeah, we're just going confident into game 2. Still have to be consistent to the end of the tournament, and that's it.
Excellent stuff. Once more time, guys, give it up. Your Game 1 winners, Cammy and Seti! Good stuff. Let's head back over to our man, Zeke on the desk.
Thank you guys so much. Game number 1 is taken by EU. This is going to be a tough one for everybody else. EU, let's represent, baby! Cammy and Seti, though, come out huge in game number 1. What's crazy, too, for a moment there, we watched Queasy and Vino go for height in 6th moving, right? But it's not them who end in height, it's Cammy and Seti.
It's crazy, big developments there. I can't believe Cammy and Seti are the ones that actually end up on the high ground. I love the fact that you mentioned that there were a little bit of flip-flopping going on the high ground. Somehow Cammy and Seti, probably the least likely duo in my opinion, to find themselves up there, do so well played coming from them. And also, not to mention, this end clip right here doesn't even tell the full story. Seti goes down in that mid game and Cammy clutches up 1v2, which is why he has so many eliminations coming into this. And then to close it out here, just 2 separate solos, and they make easy work of them.
It was right around the start of Zone 8 that we saw Cammy just sweep Queasy completely off guard there on the flank. Didn't seem as though Queasy was fully aware of the fact, because there were so many teams trying to challenge that high ground at once, but it was Cammy and Seti who actually successfully walked away with it, and they just had so many builds. That vertical play throughout the entirety of 8th and 9th zone, there was just nothing anyone else could do about it.
And the thing that I love, right, is we came into this game and we were like, who's going to be nervous, who's going to be confident? I have never been able to tell if somebody is confident. After winning game number 1 of an invitational, it seemed like there was like no expression coming out of Cammy and Seti. There was like, yeah, that's expected.
That's what they're used to, right? That's how they won the most recent DreamHack. This is almost like, it's like their life is on repeat, but this time instead of DreamHack, it's FNCS Invitational, right? I'm curious to get your guys' thoughts. We saw a lot of like self-regional eliminations, right? EU eliminating EU, yeah. NA eliminating NA. It was kind of crazy. I'm surprised there wasn't more, I guess, intermingling.
Big battles going on here, and it's really close towards the top of this leaderboard. Of course, Cammy and Seti finding themselves at the top. They're getting that victory royale, securing 44 points. The early lead after game number 1, but NA West also representing here, going down in that third place position, getting 42 points on the back of so many eliminations.
But it was actually the 4th place position. Noah Riley, Bad Sniper, they're walking away with 8 elims. That is a good chunk of points that they were able to compensate for, despite not being able to close things out. And I think ultimately we saw in the first 3 zones a little bit more EU heavy as far as the elim fee was concerned.
Yeah,
but
sure.
By the time we hit that mid game, it seemed as though all of NA and some of the international regions just really started to hit their stride, because everything just started lighting up immediately.
a lot of these players, right? They're using this initial game as a kind of a feeler, right? Let's just kind of see how this all works and everyone the land looks like, and then we'll look to go ahead and fight back. But real quick, we have a mini miner standing by. What you got for us?
Thank you so much, Zeke. Now, we want to be taking a deep dive into one of our duos that have been deep diving into the dead side of Zone. As we reveal this massive screen right behind me, we're going to be talking, of course, about Commandment and Avery, our reigning NA East FNCS champions. We can see them on the screen right there, the little white arrows, and they've made a really, really interesting rotate this game. We can see the path that they are going to take using all the way on that dead side of Zone. Now, you might be wondering, what is the benefits of dead side? Now, you can see on the map, loads of those little arrows are on this side of Zone, right? And this is the area that most teams are going to be at, because most of the POIs are going to be rotating into there. We can see Commandment and Avery using the sort of the mid-map rotation, right? You can see the in-game rotation devices, you can see the launch pads being used, you can see the balloons, and of course, you can see the slipstreams as well, and you can see them getting to this less congested side of Zone. Nobody's there. What's going on? They have a free rotation, but of course, this comes with some problems, right? We saw them struggling with Surge in that previous game. It didn't quite work out the way that they were expecting. They weren't able to find as many players as they could, so the benefits for them are, of course, they're on the less congested side of Zone. They don't see anyone, but that also has implications. You don't get the damage done, and you can see that in the last game. They were struggling for tags. Of course, we saw King and Ed doing the exact same thing, but they were able to find as many eliminations and as many tags as they possibly could, which kept them afloat. Unfortunately for Commandment and Avery, though, it didn't quite work out. I've got so many questions to ask, and who better to ask them themselves? Kelly, over to you.
Thank you so much, Mini Miner. Joining me right now, I have Commandment and Avery. And Avery, I got to ask you, man, how do you feel about game number one?
Surge was pretty rough. We had to run through Holler's shield pretty early, so we died on half zone. But we still managed to get 8 points for first game, just testing the grounds.
Well, good luck in that next game, guys. I'm sure you're going to be doing a lot better. I'm going to be joining over here Acorn and Edgy, guys. That second place finish, what was going through your mind once you had that solo run?
I mean, honestly, it was all Acorn. Like, I didn't even do anything, to be honest. He's just the best player in the world.
Yeah, man, what was going through your mind?
I know I had chromes, and I was like, I'm 100% going to get top 2 here. No, I was confident, and it went my way.
I love it. Congratulations, guys. You have a great start to the competition. Let's head on back to the desk.
Thank you so much, Kelly, and of course, Mini Miner, and shout outs to the players. That was just game number one. Now, this looks a little deceiving, right? For a moment, we celebrate Cammy and Teddy. We think, okay, they got the victory royale, big deal. Yeah. However, Acorn there, it's okay. They didn't get the victory royale, but that's not what they needed, right? They just needed to place high.
Yeah, of course. You know, Acorn, you can hear it out of Edgy right there. Best player in the world. Love that confidence coming out of the teammate. But again, you know, one of those solo clutches that we kind of saw was from Cool and Yuman. I think it was Cool specifically getting into that endgame, securing that third place position. And we could saw at one point in time, he was like in that 1v2 situation in that box fight, and he comes out on top and just transitions that all the way towards that third place position.
You don't become FNCS champions without having this kind of a collective measure when it comes to your mental discipline inside these block fights. And not to mention the fact that they also had 7 elims to boot to close this one out. So not only are they placing high, but they're also making sure to capitalize on those elims as well. And it is everything when you're able to try and establish these early leads, because this is a very competitive lobby. And I think, if anything, game one is only amped me up even more to see what these players are going to do.
Yeah, the individual performances coming out, and that's what matters so much on these stages. You know, we saw last season on the NA East region, Commandment is the one that won it with his solo clutch. So every single solo performance matters tenfold.
That's right. I want to take a look at our standings once again. And again, don't freak out. This is just game number one. This is our feeler game, right? From here, we make adjustments and we make the changes we need to succeed. Cammy and Seti, they did win game number one. But with only 6 eliminations, they're currently sitting at the 44 points. As we kind of start to go top to bottom, you know, we did watch Queasy and Vino. They did try and take height. But I'm curious as to like what you feel kind of happened. How did that all unfold? The height take looked good, but something went wrong.
So we knew this was coming, right? We knew Queasy and Vino were going for the higher gun, and they had it going into that first moving zone. And then all of a sudden we were checking it out. You know, Runa and Pepper are all of a sudden on the higher ground, and Queasy and Vino are like, all right, fine, we'll give it up. And then like 5 seconds later, I look back up and Queasy and Vino are back on height. So, you know, they had the strategies there. Ultimately, Cammy and Seti just found the best of them, though.
That's right. Really quickly, let's go on over to our friends Kelly and Adam, who are standing by on the stage.
Thank you very much, Zeke. Guys, are we having a good time? All right, we're looking good. Game one is done, and game two is imminent.
However, we need your help, everyone, because our battle bus is out of gas and we power it with hype. So in the count of 3, I'm going to need you to get as loud as you can possibly get.
All right.
1, 2, 3.
Let us hear! Come on!
Get
louder!
We keep going!
Keep going! Keep going!
It's almost there!
As loud as you can! Come on! Keep going! Fantastic! You look beautiful out there! It's time for game number 2. Now that's how you kick off a battle bus, Jacob. Whoa, the crowd is really coming together for that one.
Yep, and Acorn clutching it up by himself as a solo. Cool, and Yumi from NA West. But you got to give it up to EU, Cammy, and Seti taking that top spot, and they're really putting the lobby on notice. Hey, we came to play. We came to take over.
So much representation from all of the players showing up in that last game there. NA West, NA East, Asia, EU, of course. You saw what they were able to do there. And again, that is what makes this all worth it. That is why we tune in for these moments.
Yeah, but that was just game number 1. Sure. I'm pretty sure with game number 2 right around the corner, the nerves are beginning to settle. The players have figured out how the lobby is going to be. And one of the things I've noticed after that first game, everybody is stingy with Storm Surge damage.
That's right, but listen, the show must go on. Let's just go ahead and keep things rolling. Thank you guys so much. We're trying to get our players back on that battle bus so we can start game number 2. Now that we have a moment here to just breathe, the biggest thing I think on a lot of these players' mind, as you even saw some of them talk about in their interviews, Storm Surge. This is something that a lot of these players, they try to overcome, and now they have to double adapt. Not just adapt to their own meta and the way they're used to playing Storm Surge, but how other duos ahead of them, next to them, behind them, may be doing the same thing.
Every single time in Fortnite that we have like a set lobby over the course of X amount of games, game 1 is always the most stacked. And we saw it right there. It was like the flip of a coin. All of a sudden the lobby, the amount of players left alive just crashed instantly because so many of them needed to fight for it. But one thing that I did see in that early game right there, a lot of balloons were being used. A lot of the players poisoning themselves all the way up there in the sky, then using those hammer assault rifles primarily to get tags in the early game. And then anybody that wasn't really doing that, unfortunately just had to force a fight later on in the game. Like for example, we saw Epic Whale and Reek go down because of one of those fights.
Look, it might have been Cammy and Seti that actually closed out the lobby, but it was Muzz and Looter who got the action going for us because we did see a decent amount of hesitation. It's kind of expected, I think. Game number 1 here at the FNCS Invitational, nobody wants to be the first one out, but unfortunately for Smite and Larson, that was the case because Looter and Muzz actually winning out the immediate trade, and this is one of the POIs that we touched on at the start because we knew that Grim Gables was going to be popping. We knew that Muzz and Looter have the experience to tango with the other regions.
You want to know something? This is what I love because, you know, we're talking about how some of these all-spawn situations are going to go down. And, you know, I was talking with some of the other analysts, and Taco included, and Muzz and Looter was like, you know, I think this might actually, you know, play into their favor being contested all spawn because, you know, Looter himself said NA East has been way harder than OC. He thinks there's a lot more talent over here. And then Storm Surge was one of the things that he was most worried about. So the fact that they ended up being contested, and that game is a great example. They get that early damage done, those early eliminations, and they're set for the rest of the game. They don't even have to worry about their biggest worry coming into the Invitational.
Another duo that had a tough time getting going, Mr. Savage. It took a fight that maybe didn't quite go the way it was anticipating. Let's take a look at some of the replays and kind of talk about what we're seeing.
That one was definitely a bit of a heartbreaking moment because when a duo that hasn't even naturally been practicing this off-spawn situation up until recently challenges you and beats you, iDrop said it himself in the pre-game interview. I've been dropping here uncontested for the past year. It's not going to change the outcome, and yet we're witnessing the downfall of iDrop and Mr. Savage.
Yeah, and honestly, shout out to On1 right there because, you know, the discipline, right? Sometimes when you go to clear buildings, you're kind of just running down the staircase or running through corridors, and you're just like, I'll be fine. I don't hear him. I haven't seen him here. But no, he actually pre-builds off the wall, the floor. He catches Savage trying to go for a sneaky little shot, and Savage at that point is just kind of caught in this box, and On1 cleans it up after placing that wall to make sure Savage can't get any control over any of those builds. So really well played from On1 for sure.
And something that's also worth considering, I think, for Mr. Savage and iDrop now is you have to remember when you have so much information out there on how you like to drop, loot, and land this spot, like what we've witnessed from this duo, I think that is pertinent information because I would be very surprised if On1 and Vaca haven't been utilizing a lot of VOD review to their favor leading into this.
Yeah, I mean, iJob himself said he's been landing here for 12 months, so there is a lot out there on it.
Yeah.
Now the question is, do we get the repeat of this again? Will we watch this happen again? Do we think they're going to change something up? Do they feel now like they have no choice? They have to try to take this fight.
You know, I think that, the players, especially up there, they are pretty set on going for the fight. So I think we're just going to see a fight happen again. But, game one jitters are kind of out of the way. If you get eliminated early in a game, you kind of can just sit there, right? You can mentally reset. Obviously some of it's going to start to wear down on your mental a little bit, but you can full reset, maybe come up with a new strategy with your duo, kind of talk to them in that meantime. You pretty much had that whole game to talk strategy and kind of, mention what went wrong, you think.
Exactly. It's not the end of the world by any means because we are literally only one game through. We still have 5 left to go. There is ample opportunity here, not just for the players to have a chance to, I think, boost their placement points on the leaderboard, but also it's just the simple fact that they can make the tiny adjustments that they need to. As far as iJob and Mr. Savage are concerned, now I think they're a lot more wary of the fact that On1 and Vaca, they're definitely willing to take a super early engagement. They don't care about the fact that it's the first 3 zones. Both of these duos, I think, are going to continue trying to look to establish their surge management early on.
And I love the terminology used right there, more aware, right? Because, again, On1 just recently decided to land here like 2 days ago. So it's like, whoa, for Mr. Savage and iJob. We had no idea. There's no information because this duo hasn't really landed here before. But now, game 1, the information is starting to reveal itself. On1 is obviously, leaking some of those things just naturally as he plays through the games. And we know that Savage and iJob are very well experienced, so they should be able to turn that into something positive.
Yeah, it's not kind of like the one beats all, right? There is going to be this back and forth that continues to develop. And it's kind of what we talked about like at the beginning of the show, is that adaptability factor. How many duos could just say, okay, this went wrong, let's go ahead and change these things so that doesn't happen again, right? Fortnite is primarily a game of what you would call RNG, right? You landed a POI, what's there? Where are the chests? Where's the guns? Where's the builds? And for these duos, they're trying to limit as much of that as possible, right? They want to find that spot. Hey, I know there's a gun here every time. I know if I hit this building as I open this door, pick up this thing, I'll have 10 builds. That's a wall I can use to defend myself if I'm jumped, right? So I'm excited to see how in game 2, a lot of these duos look to say, what do we got to do differently?
Well, for Beppo and Runa, I was actually very happy to see that they were the ones that initially started off at that Lustrous Lagoon. And again, that was an uncontested draw spot for them. You're talking about loot, you're talking about resources, Zeke, and there is ample of it at Lustrous Lagoon. A lot of these players have even been talking about the fact that it's kind of crazy that they have gone this entire time leading up to the event without anyone wanting to establish an immediate contest at that POI. So I like the fact that they were able to hang in that top 10 leaderboard as well, really representing their region, I think, excellently there, because the fact is there was a lot of traffic coming their way due to the way that the zones ended up pulling towards that north side. So the fact that they were able to not only stay in that surge management position despite being uncontested, but they also just made do with what they were given there.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really cool to see that they actually also took the high ground from none other than Queasy and Vito in that endgame. Ultimately, yeah, they did end up losing it, but I want to see more of that, right? Just because you lost at just this one game, you may have a very good strategy that takes out, something that Queasy and Vino aren't used to, and that's kind of that multi-regional invitational that is just so good, and all the strategies start to come out and catch players by surprise.
You'll love to see it. This is just kind of our insights here from the desk, but we also have Mini Miner standing by to get his thoughts on that game.
Absolutely, Zeke. It's not just me, it's Takata alongside me as well. Now, we've been watching all of this action unfold behind the scenes. We've been able to see some extra POVs, Takata. It's been intense, right? We've seen some crazy plays.
Look, players from all around the world, it's what I love to see these players shine, right? Zagu and Mirim, they were fragging out, Mini. They got, what, almost 8 eliminations in that match? Even players from the West Coast, Cool and Yumi, they were also popping off in that late game. And what's going on with Seti and Cammy? Up in the clouds, right? We never seen them up there, right? Playing up top, it's something that you love to see in game 1 of an international event like this.
And this is what the invitation is all about, right? We have so many different players from so many different regions, bring different strategies, but it can all change. As we talked about earlier, things can change so quickly. Cammy and Seti on the high ground, what's going on? This is crazy, but of course, Cool and Yumi as well, you mentioned it, right? I had a few questions to ask about their surge. I actually spoke to them in person in the player area, and they said, we have all the answers, Mini Miner, don't worry, don't be concerned. And I was like, mate, carry on. You do it, mate, if that's what they're going to do, and they're pulling out all the stops today.
I mean, they proved it, right? The way they played that late game, they were ready to dominate. But I mean, Seti Kami up top, I think that was more of like a situational thing, right? We had Queasy Vino earlier up top on the high ground, but then Seti and Kami saw the opportunity and they striked, right? I don't think it's going to be an every game type scenario for this duo. We know they like the consistency, so I wouldn't, be surprised if they switch it up a bit, but I'm excited to see what they continue to do.
I am very excited as well. I'm sure as are the Des. Let's throw it back to them to see what they think.
You got a good laugh out of our boy Vivid here.
Modificando cositas del stream en vivo, morros. ¿Qué andan haciendo? Chéquense, así se hace esto. Acabo de hacer una escena nueva en la cual estoy grabando la pantalla, mi segunda pantalla, viendo las FNCS. En la primera pantalla estoy jugando con el Fortnite y acá arriba va a estar la cámara, ahorita la prendo. Andamos haciendo eso, chicos.
Yeah. 100%.
Ojito con el Máximo. Hola, morro, buenas tardes, ¿cómo estás? Pero ¿qué ha pasado? Pensé que el directo sería en la noche, pero veo que ya tienes rato. Sí, lo que pasa es que son las finales de las FNCS. Y pues andamos acá bien prendidos. Bien prendidos con esto. Y ahorita voy a terminar este directo para empezar otro que sea de Fortinati. Se va a llamar Viendo las FNCS y jugando Fortnite. Viendo las FNCS y jugando Fortnite. Dice el Máximo, ayer vi un torneo super de Dragon Ball Super y fue épico la final. Vencha. Rocking me Se me hace que le voy a bajar el volumen a los bailes porque no escucho nada de acá del video. Bueno, ahorita vemos, dame un segundo, tengo que seguir comunicando. Ahorita prendo la cámara, ya tengo todo listo, nomás denme un segundo. Vámonos mientras en dúo, Sarito, en lo que termino de configurar esto, ¿vale?
Some of this aggression that we are witnessing right now in Game 1 from the other international regions, but at the very least, I do expect a little bit of a bite back from NA East, West, and EU.
I think for me, I'm looking forward to seeing how many more duels try to go for height, right? For in this instance, Zagum Rim, they were just in that mid ground. They didn't even care about high ground. They're like, no, you guys battle out. We want more eliminations. We'll stay right here. Do you guys think that maybe more duels will look to just say, like, look, our kind of strategy to win is that high ground. We got to go for it.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. We saw a lot of teams.
Ojo, también vamos a jugar como los FNCS, así es. Así es, ahorita vamos y nos metemos contra Buga y lo petamos al perro. Es más, vámonos y nos metemos a las... nos metemos en... ¿Cómo se llama? Tenemos unas...
We also saw Dono went down a little bit early. Macwood loves to play the high ground coming out of NA East. Pretty much the only thing that he strives for, but being left as a solo, he couldn't really do that this game.
But just look at some of these names that are located on the second page already for the leaderboard. You got Thomas HD, a Tripper, Pink, and a Nas. Again, I think Vico and Brian have been really exciting to kind of follow along, especially since they're relatively newly formed here for the FNCS Invitational. I don't think that is an easy feat by any means to have to quickly adapt to your person.
100%. Listen, I can't believe it, actually, because Flick and Duke were actually popping off towards that end, right? And, the crowd was going crazy. We on the desk were like, wow, they're really showing up right now. And, on that leaderboard, it's really showing as well. Finding those eliminations on big-name teams as well. They're coming into the Invitational with the experience, and it's showing.
How many of these duels are thinking?
Ahí voy, Sarito, dame un segundo.
Game 2. I'm ready.
Vámonos a Tilted, Sarito, Tilted.
I think I know what I need to do to get going because I want to make the crowd here in the Raleigh Convention Center just lose their mind when we're taking shots. Because, man, there was some eliminations happening, and I was just on my feet screaming with the crowd.
Straight up, ultimately, it's going to be based on an individual level. I think, how good are you And how good is your mental at taking something that could be negative and turning it into something positive? Because not everything went right for any duo of that game, so they have to think about those things and like, okay, what can we do? What have we scrimmed before that has kind of helped us throughout these situations? Just make those changes come in the game number 2. But there's also duos, plenty of them, especially the top 10 on the leaderboard, who found things that worked for them. So keep doing those things, but again, not everything went perfect. Keep that in mind.
But nerves aside, as the games go on, it's going to start feeling more and more natural, I think, for a lot of these players. You're going to start being able to focus in a lot more on the actual gameplay itself, and I think that's where the audience becomes a little bit of background noise until we come down to those final moments. But something that I'm really curious to see is whether or not these players are actually going to showcase some of their flexibility or adaptability, because Mustache Malabuka, I think they're a great example of a duo where
Ok, morro, entonces el Minecraft en la noche, sí, en la noche. Después de esto, va a ser de 9 a 10, 11, 12 más o menos. De 9 en adelante.
Thank you so much for that quick
claro que sí.
so we can start getting into our perspective here. I mean, Jacob, let's talk about what we know just coming out of game 1.
I mean, what we know, NA West, Cool and Yumi showing up big. Not only getting that 3rd place finish, but you saw that 2v1.
Todavía no me revivas ahorita, voy a estar revisando configuraciones.
NA in general just kind of showing
Sabía
up.
por mi tarjeta, pero no me
won
revivas.
the game, but I think we need to start giving NA more credit.
Yeah, definitely have to give them that credit. They show up and then wait for them to win those early engagements. I mean, listen, we got to sit in the player lounge, quite literally stand over the shoulders of A1 and Baka while they were practicing. They took on the likes. You know who they're training against?
Who are they training?
Reeds and Epic Whale. That's their training partner. And I don't know about you, but if you were following Twitter, I posted a little clip of Reed taking on Mustache and Malabuka. So it kind of all ties together if Mustache and Malabuka are known as some of their greats. And then A1 and Baka could hold their toe-to-toe with someone like Reed. I mean, it all just starts to make sense.
You know what I'm loving out of all that, though? You talked about the two partners, right? A1 and Baka and who they're sparring against, Reed and Epic Whale. That's NA West. That's NA West showing each other some love. I talked about a lot of these guys being friends, but when they're on the battlefield, they're enemies. That is just inner region training, and that's something I love to see.
That's right, and of course, the upsets, right? We saw a couple edge battles there. Booga and Miro looking out so early. This is one of the things we didn't really get to talk about. You would think that a team like Booga and Miro, who have drilled and trained their drop spot so perfectly, they almost have it conditioned. This should be another walk in the park situation for them. What do you think went wrong as they were rotating out? Because it seems like they face planted into Macro and Kanata. That was the big decision.
You know, without seeing too much of their POV, I can only go off a few educated guesses here, and just judging by 95 players being alive when Storm Surge hit, I think they were one of the few teams that were having problems dealing with that. And that's one of the things that I said in an interview before this event, that Storm Surge is going to be hard for these players to deal with, because the players that are above Storm Surge, they can hide in the box, they can focus on those rotations, but the ones that are below, they have to fight outside of Storm. They have to fight the first person they see in that first moment, because you can't continually falling down on that damage.
That's right. Well, listen, that's our perspectives here. We have so much more.
Thank you guys so much for those insights. We actually had a really cool moment here. The cast was kind of talking about Booga and Mira going down earlier. We had a listen-in moment. Let's take a look.
We need to find extra heals. You should pop cabbage maybe for white. I need to heal. Let's you throw me a mini now.
Yeah, come. Out there, like right there.
Surge, yeah. I want that big ammo tray, but I know they're just gonna get above us.
I mean, I think you can go for it. There's a chest there as well. It's definitely worth our loot. It's just glid off the thing.
It is, yeah.
If we can get Surge here, we can get enough.
I mean, make sure this isn't baited, bro. Come on. Here, we can get stacked, bro. I'm chilling. If we get Surge, we sit in the zone, bro. We should look.
Yeah, like we're the. We have to follow right side.
Yeah, we have to go right side. I'm just gonna go up. No, we should.
I can already tell. Even Booga and Miro are like, hey, we need Storm Surge. We need to make sure this is right. It is absolutely affecting many of these players. We will come back and talk about more of this in just a moment. First, I do want to throw it on over to the player area for a special interview.
We have a very special interview, Zeke. I'm here with one of our alternate players, Frey. Now, Frey, you've been watching.
Vale, chicos, en lo que termino de configurar esto, voy a terminar este directo y empiezo otro ya con el título viendo las FNCS y petando botsitos en Fortnite. Vale, denme unos minutos y ahorita empezamos de nuevo. Bye bye.